By 2004, THQ and Yuke's SmackDown series had been PlayStation's flagship wrestling franchise. After the smash hit that was Here Comes the Pain, THQ were eventually bound to run out of shit to call it. So THQ and Yuke's decided to do a rebrand in the form of SmackDown vs. Raw, a series completely focused on brand warfare. During the coming weeks, I will be reviewing every SmackDown vs. Raw game. At the time of recording this voiceover, the Royal Rumble is today. And that obviously starts the road to WrestleMania.
The first SmackDown vs. Raw is revolutionary in a lot of ways. For one, it was the first game to have the side-facing camera, which is still in use today in today's 2K series. It was also the first WWE game to have a licensed soundtrack, to my knowledge. You got bands like Powerman 5000, Breaking Benjamin. Get out of here, dude.
The original SmackDown vs. Raw still maintains the controls of the SmackDown series. This was before it would change to the joystick in 2007. SVR brings in some new additions in the form of these pre-match minigames. They aren't bad in any way, and I'm kinda glad they are here. In later entries, the series adds on to these pre-match minigames. There's also the introduction of a clean and dirty meter. This establishes who's the face and who's the heel. Faces raise their meter by doing high-flying moves and doing taunts, and the heels raise theirs by being overall dickheads. And if you don't really care, you can just select neutral. Game does feel silky smooth, which is always good to report for any video game. There's no real stiffness when playing the game. All of the match types you expect to be in a wrestling game in 2004 are here, from table matches, ladder matches, and the iconic Elimination Chamber. There is one match type I do kinda find weird, and that's the Hell in the Cell. It has some weird ass shit to it, like, for one, why are the weapons outside of the cage? Shouldn't they just be under the ring? And why is the cell too close to the ring? This is an issue that's in today's 2K series. There should be more space on the outside to wrestle, not have these little ass enclosed spaces. And also, how did I lose? I tapped out outside of the cell. When has that ever happened on WWE television? Another high spot of this game are the entrances. My favorite being Matt Hardy, just because I love they include the whole Matt facts and the whole old school glitch effect. It's really cool, but guys like Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle also have really great entrances. John Cena in this game has his basic Thugonomics entrance, but he doesn't say anything. Why? Would it have just killed the dev team to record one basic line that could refer to everybody? A few complaints I have about SmackDown vs. Raw is the fact that there aren't any victory animations. It just ends and then there's the match menu. The Chamber has a victory motion, and the Cell does as well. So why doesn't just normal match types have a victory animation? One complaint this game is known for is its lacking roster size. Now, a lot of wrestlers were cut from the game. I made a whole video about the cut content for all the SmackDown vs. Raw games. If you want to go watch that after this, I'll put a link in the description. But some of the biggest wrestlers being cut from this game were Lita, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar, and Goldberg. Now, I can easily imagine some wrestling fan in 2004 buying this game on release and being extremely disappointed.
Flashback.
No Lita, Austin, Goldberg, or Brock. Man, this game sucks. I'm going to play Here Comes the Pain.
Once again, Season Mode returns, and it gets a giant revamp in the form of voice-acted cutscenes. Although, most of it isn't good at all.
Well, maybe if you'd stop distracting me while I'm in that ring, I wouldn't be losing so much.
Like, here, hearing The Undertaker say lines he would never say is very strange. Season Mode thankfully allows you to select whoever you want on the roster. I selected John Cena for this run, but for some reason your character is a mute for the entire game, which I'm not a big fan of, and it makes no sense because Cena has voice recorded lines when you pick other characters. But here you're totally mute. Season Mode sees you play through 1 year of the WWE and go through storylines and win championships. My first storyline involved me feuding with Renee Dupree over the managerial services of Tori Wilson. Of course, I super Cena that shit and win, and I unlock Tori as a manager, so you can select her for your matches. And after one storyline, I'm able to challenge for the world title, which is just hilarious. Cena walks into GM Kurt Angle's office and Hulk Hogan's his way to a title shot. JBL's the champ here. Of course I kick his ass, and right when I'm about to win, he calls for help and wins by DQ. Our big feud after weeks of beef ends in a giant steel cage, and after 5 minutes, Cena is your new champion. One thing I praise about the SVR games is that fact it has player-determined choices. Do you want to be a goody-two-shoes babyface or a dick-headed heel? We never saw it in real life after 2003, but here, Cena's going full heel mode. If you care, I eventually will lose my title in an Elimination Chamber when The Undertaker tombstone me and pin me to eliminate me from the match. My season mode ended with a storyline involving Trish Stratus, and with what I'm about to tell you, just know I'm not joking. Eddie Guerrero and JBL go into Trish's bag and steal her bra and underwear, and Vince McMahon hangs them above the ring in a multi-team ladder match.
What the fuck were they thinking?
Normally I'd have this section of the video filled with some personal stories about the game, but I don't really have any. Now obviously I wasn't alive in 2004 playing this game when it released, but I wouldn't go ahead and play it till years later, and it was never really a game that I played heavily. I love the game, it's a great game, but I don't really have any personal stories with it. But I can certainly say that this game is definitely worth your time and attention. If you haven't played it yet, go play it, go emulate it, it's a good game. This is just part one of many. We're going to take a look at every SVR game leading up to this year's WrestleMania. So stay tuned in the coming weeks and months. Check your inbox for the next video. And yeah, I'll see you later. Peace.
Last time on the channel, we took a look at 2004 SmackDown vs. Raw, a revolutionary game for WWE games as a whole. 1 year later, THQ and Ukes once again. Would they make a banger, or would Sophomore Syndrome hit? SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 will release on November 11th, 2005. Rather than just simply call it SmackDown vs. Raw 2, they decided to add on the 2006 to give the game a real sports feel for some reason. Starting the game and entering the match, it is clear that many changes have been made, and good changes at that. The entrances are now full length. In the previous SmackDown vs. Raw games, and even the other SmackDown games, entrances were like 15 seconds and they were fast as hell and took no time. Here, we got the superstars doing their authentic TV entrances and taking their time. The gameplay has also been redone. They add on to the pre-match minigames by letting you or the CPU select one of the 4 minigames manually. Also new to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 is the stamina system. To be honest, I always turn this off. I have never been a fan of this game mechanic. It isn't a bad mechanic at all, I just prefer SVR without having to manage a stamina system. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 introduces brand new weight classes. All that it really means is that guys like Rey Mysterio are going to struggle to pick up guys like Triple H and John Cena. This game features an awesome sleeper hold mechanic that involves you choking out your opponent and the ref raising his or her arm 3 times. While recording gameplay for this video, I actually got caught in this and lost to Tajiri of all people. They did remove the ability to store multiple finishers, now you can only hold one at a time, but if you decide to be impatient and hit your finish right when the bar is flashing, you'll get an awesome cinematic cutscene where the screen will go black and white and the camera slows down as a rebirth effect. It's really cool. Another fix from the original SVR is that victory motions are back, and it shouldn't have been removed in the first place. Honestly, I think that they just rushed it and that it got cut for development time, but I'm happy they're back here. Now, in terms of match types, we have 2 new to the SVR series. We have the Buried Alive match and Fulfill Your Fantasy. You know what a Buried Alive match is. Bury your opponent under 6 feet of dirt to win the match. Well, it makes its first appearance here in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and it's a very fun match type at that. It's based off the 2003 match between Undertaker and Vince McMahon at Survivor Series. Also, can you believe it's been 15 damn years since we had a Buried Alive match? The second new match type to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 is the Fulfill Your Fantasy match. Wow, this is something. I don't know if I should think this is the greatest thing ever or it's the worst thing ever. Like, I feel dirty just playing this match type. Let's move on before YouTube comes after this video. Now, one last thing before we move on to the season mode and the other new game modes. Finally, you can defend your titles in exhibition mode. I did a ladder match between Rey Mysterio and Paul London, and no joke, the match lasted about a minute.
Title. Stick a fork in it, Paul. This match is done.
Another weird thing I noticed too is that the AI will no-sell finishers way too much. Why is Charlie Haas kicking out of 3 Batista bombs? I thought this was a WWE product, and not an AEW one. Launching the season mode once again presents us with selecting a wrestler on either the SmackDown or Raw side. I am happy to report that the voice acting has greatly improved here, and there's actual motion capture cutscenes this time. although some of the moves look like complete dog shit if I'm being honest. I chose Rey Mysterio for this mode, and upon launching the mode, I got the iconic Who Ran Over Teddy Long storyline. This game has some of the most iconic storylines in any season mode, ones like Eddie Guerrero stealing Undertaker's urn and RVD's ECW takeover. Speaking of ECW, the One Night Stand Arena is in this game, but I have zero clue how to unlock this legitimately. Can someone please let me know how to do it? But back to season mode, after months of storyline and not knowing who ran over down Teddy Long, the Royal Rumble is here and, oh, damn, I lost. Huh. Okay, that's cool, it gives me an immediate second chance, nice. Oh, damn, I lost again. Well, that's fine, I don't need the world title, I'll just go for the US title, it's fine, let me just exit real quick. Huh, it's odd, it's saving. That usually never happens.
Yo, you gotta be fucking kidding me! Fuck!
So, if you lose the Rumble match, the game just ends your season mode. Thank God for emulators, am I right? After winning the Rumble, it's here where Teddy Long returns and reveals that we were the ones who ran him down months ago. Wow, a Ray heel turn that we never got in real life? Now that's pretty cool. For the next few months, GM Teddy Long makes our life hell, so there's no chance we make it to Mania. Thankfully, Raw Champion Triple H has our back for some strange reason. This game will actually give you the challenge to face all challengers to stick it to Teddy Long, or jump ship to Raw and take the easy way out. Well, if I'm going to be a heel, I'm going to take the easy route, so I challenge Triple H at WrestleMania. And I beat him in under 8 minutes, and that's the season mode. Now, there's one more game mode that everybody has waited for me to get to, and that is the GM mode. For all you wannabe bookers out there, now is your chance to become Teddy Long or Eric Bischoff. Now look, I've never been the biggest fan of this game mode, but I understand why people adore it. It isn't even a bad game mode, it's just something that I've never paid attention to or really cared for. In between gameplay, there's your own personalized locker room that you can go and visit from time to time. It's very linear here, and it gets a very big upgrade in 2007, so just wait for that. Can we take a moment to acknowledge the attention to detail here? Like the Raw arenas accurately having the announce tables off to the side like they were in the 2000s, or Rey Mysterio having his double contacts that he used to wear. Very nice, Ukes. So last time I said that I didn't really have any personal stories. I actually have one for you. See, my first impression with this game, it was not a very good one. I had gotten a bundle of PS2 games from a local pawn shop, and SVR 2006 was one of them. At this point, I was only used to 2010 and 11, so it was a shock to me when I realized the joystick wasn't doing anything. I hated this game for a long time because I couldn't figure out how to play, and I didn't have a manual or a phone at that time. Luckily, eventually I learned how to play the game, and now it's one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 does exactly what sequels should, and it's very fun. It's got a great season mode. It should be played by at least every wrestling fan. Next time we're going to look at the fan favorite SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, which is arguably to some people the greatest wrestling game ever released.
We back in this bitch.
As the calendar would turn from 2005 into 2006, the WWE was in a bit of a weird space. 06 to me is one of the more underrated years of the company. It finally saw Edge, a guy who had many been known as a tag team person, finally reach the main event, win his first world title, and get that big feud with Cena. Rey Mysterio would win the Royal Rumble and win the World Championship at Mania that year, and have one of the worst booked runs in history. Kurt Angle would have some great matches on his way out of the company, where he would leave for 11 years and arguably have a greater career in TNA. Why am I telling you this? Well, because we need an intro, and 2006 also saw the release of arguably to many people the best wrestling game ever made, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Now, I'm sure you'll notice in the title I specifically put the PS2 version, and there's a reason for that. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 was the first game to be released on 7th-gen platforms. Only 360 users got it though, as us PS3 kids were deemed unworthy. I own both versions of SVR 2007, and I had fully intended to review the 360 version, and then this happens. Now, thankfully this wasn't a full Red Ring of Death. I have a later model 360, so I unplugged it and it works just fine now. But it wasn't like I left the console on for hours on end. The fan just gets hot as soon as it gets cut on, so I didn't want to fight it. I'm just going to look at the PS2 version today. That's not a bad thing though, because they're both the same game, just the 360 version looks better and has the sweat shit. Jumping into the game, the biggest change up to this point in series history was the control overhaul. See, this was the first game to have the joystick controls. To walk, joystick. Execute moves, joystick. Is it terrible? No. It's manageable, but I feel like using circle to grapple will always be the superior control scheme. But one thing the joystick is really good for is the ultimate control moves. These are interactable moves that can be controlled by you, the player, manually. For example, say you get your opponent in the fireman's carry position. You can either hit them with the FU or an airplane spin, and many more moves. There's actual hotspots around the arena that you can use. There's even like these backstage areas that have hotspots and interactables. Like in the bar brawl, there's this cool finisher that is clearly meant for Stone Cold, but here's Cena stealing his gimmick. Also new to the SmackDown vs. Raw series is the crowd area. They showed it off in the original trailer, and it's a neat addition here, but it kind of does suck because it was only here for one more game. By the time that 2009 came out, it was gone. During my recording of this game, I would notice that the commentary would bug out, and they would just talk about things that were not happening on screen. Take a listen to this bizarre commentary bug.
I can't believe someone as out of it as Rob Van Dam could be featured as prominently as he is here in the WWE. I don't even think he knows where he is right now.
Van Dam might seem laid back, but don't ever mistake that for a lack of awareness or intensity.
A little further! He could win the Money in the Bank match right here!
I feel like the AI has been really improved here. I played a match between Bobby Lashley and Kurt Angle, and Lashley kept reversing my finish, and I kept doing the same. But sometimes the AI does like to turn pussy here. Like, I'm clearly trying to get the AI to come and fight me in the crowd area, and it just will not budge. I have to literally make the AI come fight me in the crowd. I forgot to mention, the crowd also has its own interactable hotspots for the ultimate control, and they work in a hardcore match's benefit, so that's another plus I forgot to mention. Also good to report is, up to this point, we do have the best soundtrack in the series, and I'll just play a couple songs here. Let me know what you think.
I'm James Bond in the octagon with two razors. Bet y'all didn't know I had a fake arm. I lost it while in war before rap. I was getting it on. Took a fat nigga out in like 40 seconds. My gun get hard with a 45 still erection. I'm not afraid anymore. Forgive me. The way I was to all the things they just take away from me. I got a bullet with a name on it. Bullet with a name. Everything that they say about me and everything that they make me. I'm rich, bitch.
Okay, KK. G's up. Little scrap. I got money. Be a me. Money in the bank. See you, man. Money in the bank.
SVR 2007 is chock full of little attention to details that are noticed here. Like, there are hints of the ECW brand in this game, but ECW becoming the third brand happened way too late in development for it to be, like, established. But the One Night Stand Arena is here, and I still can't figure out how to unlock it legitimately. Can someone please let me know how to do this? SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 also features a challenge mode that I've never really cared to indulge in, but this game has one challenge, and you know exactly what challenge I'm talking about. The iconic Beat the Great Khali while using Mickey James. Who came up with this? What psychopath thought this would be a good challenge? From what I know, it's possible, but you have to, like, cheat and shit like that. I've never done it because, again, I don't care about challenge mode, but I thought I had to mention it here. Now, jumping into this game's season mode, I selected Kurt Angle, who at the time of this game's release was actually the TNA World Champion. But this was the last game that Kurt Angle would appear in until 2017's 2K18 as a pre-order bonus. And he's broken in this game. 95 overall, destroys everybody. You can skip the majority of the matches in season mode, and unless the storyline calls for you to lose, you will win most of the time. Now, I won't mention every single storyline because then we'd be here for 35 minutes, but almost everyone is well done and well written, with some of my favorites being the one involving Candice Michelle and Edge. Candice Michelle is out here with a magic wand doing wild shit, turning Kurt Angle into a full-blown woman.
It's a magic wand, and the only thing that it's loaded with is magic.
Look, Wicked Witch of the West, keep that magic wand to yourself from now on.
What? Wicked Witch? That's it. You and me in the ring tonight.
What? You gotta be kidding me. I don't do bikini contests. What the?
I know. How about a singles match? I'll see you out there, girlfriend.
The big blow-off feud ends in a ladder match, and just look at this.
Are beating the hell out of each other, 15 feet in the air. This capacity crowd is making their opinions known tonight.
No surprise there, Cole. The WWE fans ain't exactly known for keeping their opinions to themselves.
He was one step ahead on that one.
The AI colluded against me, and I will not have it. There's one that involves Mr. Kennedy and Mark Henry that is just pure comedy gold.
The two men making their way to the ring because this will be the last time you see them in one piece. One of them is obviously too stubborn to quit, and the other one is too stupid to mind his own business. Either way, they're about to get an education from Mr. Kennedy.
There's an actual SmackDown vs. Raw storyline involving Booker T being a traitor and your character being caught in the crossfire. Speaking of SmackDown and Raw, this is the first time in a season mode that you can get traded from show to show, which is actually a really great improvement. It's random, it's not like I can just freely choose to go to SmackDown or Raw, but hey, this is a good improvement nonetheless, a good step in the right direction. Season mode has you walk around in your own personal locker room, but unlike 2006, this one is fully explorable, and here with full detailed customization. We had shit like this back in 2006, and it's got interior customization on the level of Saints Row 2's interior customization. Another improvement that's more of a nitpick if anything, is the fact that losing the Rumble doesn't end your season mode. I'm not going to stop complaining about it. It's a dumb decision. And I'm glad it's corrected here. On top of all the really good things that this game does, this is one of the few season modes, I believe, that actually lets you continue even after you beat it. Say you lose at WrestleMania. Okay, no big deal. The game doesn't end your season mode. You can continue playing and redo the storylines you lost or never experienced. Same character and everything, your experience won't reset. This is really cool. Yuke's made a really good decision here with this game season mode, that's all I'll say. Of course, the general manager mode is back here again, and from what I've heard, this is the best version of it. I'm not a big GM mode fan, so I can't confirm or deny. Maybe I'll make a video of me actually trying it and learning how to play someday, but I've never been the biggest GM mode guy. This is gonna suck to say, but I've spent more time with the 2K version of GM mode that is okay at best. I was just never good at it. So, to answer the question, is SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 the greatest game of all time? To this point in the SmackDown series, yeah, I would think so. Do I think it's the best game in the SmackDown vs. Raw series? No, I don't. I think it's second best behind another game that we'll talk about later that I cannot wait to get to. But if I sat here and said this game doesn't deserve its reputation, that would be pure blasphemy.
That is blasphemous. That is blasphemous.
I enjoyed my time with SV07, and so far, it's the best game. Now, even though I'm a believer that graphics aren't everything, I still would recommend the 360 version, and at the time of the recording, the online servers are still up, so go play online with your friends if you can, for old time's sake. Next time, we will be leaving the PlayStation 2 and taking a look at SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 on the PlayStation 3. Would it improve on 2007, or would it be a flop? Find out next time. November of 2007 saw the release of SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Coming off what many people say is the greatest game in the series, would it improve upon the greatness of 2007, or would it flop in a way? Let's find out in today's review. Booting up the game, Yuke's is already hitting us with the new features. This being the fighting style system. It's a neat inclusion that works to the wrestler's benefit. Guys like Batista and Bobby Lashley are going to be Haas powerhouses that just pick you up and slam you whenever they feel like it. While guys like Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy are obviously going to be the high flyers doing the springboard moves and the crazy shit. Getting into the menus, we're greeted by, honestly, a soundtrack that I think is better than 2007? Probably a hot take, but I'll play a couple songs real quick. I think it's slightly better in my opinion.
South niggas, stand up. Weak niggas, man up. Fuck these niggas that don't show us no love. South niggas, stand up. Weak niggas, man up. Fuck these niggas that don't show us no love. Deep in the recess of every man is a thief, a robber, a criminal. Below the surface of every hero's an envy, a restless evil. Just wanna be famous, be so fucking jaded. 'Cause I don't let my bodies take my mind from me. Sure, around the outskirts, no doubt it has happened. My money is for nothing and I chase it for fame. Yeah, I wanna be. You can sleep all day and still get paid when the sun goes down. We'll do it all over again. Go hard and go home if you thought.
Going through the game's roster, it's a mixed bag at best. We get the video game debuts of a lot of superstars here. CM Punk, Crime Time, Kenny Dykstra, Sabu, The Sandman, Terry Funk, Marcus Corvon, aka Monty Brown, and MVP all make their WWE game debuts. We also see the return of my all-time favorite wrestler, Jeff Hardy, who makes his first video game appearance since 2002's SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. If I was old enough to play this game in 2007, I definitely would have marked out for it. Sadly, though, when this game came out, I was like 2 months old, so wasn't playing it in 2007. But I do have a small nitpick about the roster. A lot of the wrestlers have reused models from 2007, and some are just outdated. Like Randy Orton still having his Legend Killer appearance, despite when this game released, he was the current WWE champion and was feuding with Shawn Michaels. This isn't a negative on the game, it's just me being a wrestling nerd and knowing shit, so yeah. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. It's so slow. Alright, comedic effect aside, it's not as slow as people make it out to be. Do I prefer the faster pace of 2006 and 7? Yes, but OA isn't downright terrible because of its slowdown gameplay. Entrances have this weird first-person effect that I honestly activated by complete accident, and I think it kind of sucks, honestly. It just looks like someone filming the entrance ramp and having a muscle spasm. It's not really a good inclusion to me. Something that doesn't suck, however, is the fact that you can spin the WWE title manually. This is a fantastic feature, by the way. This is only really something that makes me and me alone happy, but it's my review, so I'm going to mention it. Thankfully, PlayStation 3 kids were deemed worthy by the wrestling gods to get an SVR title. Visually, it looks really good, but I'd argue that 2007 on 360 still looks better. Hell, I think 2007 on the 360 looks good today. One thing you will notice in the gameplay is that you can no longer store finishers. Instead, you store your fighting style. Yay? It does kind of blow because now you have to hit your finisher as quick as possible. And with other factors involved, it's just not really a great idea in my opinion. Always let us store our finishers when the time is right. Now, attention to detail in any game is important, and like the other SVR games, it's here. Rather than having to maintain a stamina system, which thank God, wrestlers will visibly get tired as the match progresses, meaning like you'll try to pick up a weapon and you'll run and they'll drop it because they're tired, or they'll just visibly be, tired and sweating. It's a nice attention to detail, but it does get annoying because it makes you move slower than the Big Show on the way to the ring. We only have one new match type this time around, and it's the ECW Extreme Rules match. Probably one of the few good things to come out of the ECW reboot was a match type in a video game. It's very fun, and it allows for the crazy spots that we've become accustomed to by this point, especially with the guys that have hardcore as their fighting style. This is the only wrestling game, to my knowledge, that will let Sabu do the triple jump moonsault. And if you don't know what that looks like, I'll show it real quick.
Sabu has got to be thinking to himself, what the hell do I have to do to put away La Parka? How about the triple jump moonsault? Will that get it done? Yes!
In terms of the game mode, season mode is gone and it's never coming back. In its place is 24/7 mode, and it's okay. Don't get me wrong, there are some really cool storylines here, like you versus the entire ECW roster. And when I was seeing this reminded me of that short little mini feud that Cena had with ECW, like the brand itself. There's also a feud against you against the entire McMahon family, so Austin versus McMahon's. Okay, we're kind of recycling storylines here, Ukes, but you know, it's whatever. And then there's a feud with Roddy Piper over a WWE Films contract. Wow, this game really dates itself with that storyline. I chose Jeff Hardy because, of course I did. And while Jeff is my favorite wrestler of all time, he does not do a good job voice acting in this game.
But thanks to the effusive praise of ECW's representative, I've decided to give myself and WWE fans an early Christmas present this year and induct myself into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Damn, I never thought I'd see ECW join Vince McMahon's special club on live TV.
Say the word, Mr. McMahon, and this chump is no more.
Man, I think you put your head way too far up a certain butt. Go ahead and send your boys. I need the warm-up.
One thing I do like 24/7 mode is the fact that during like the main event or the pay-per-view matches, it will show like a little hype package like the real WWE does for their big events, which is really cool. Unfortunately, it's the same theme song. It's just the Raw theme song the entire time. It's the Papa Roach one, which, not bad, but across the nation will always be Raw's best theme. Don't comment. So, I did one full year of 24/7 mode, and I decided to go to SmackDown, thinking, you know what, I'm sure there's some SmackDown exclusive storylines. There isn't. It's just the exact same storylines. They just reset with different people thrown in. Why? Why were you so lazy this go around? I don't understand. This is the reason why I've never really completed 24/7 mode 100%. It's what made the prior season modes fun. You could go through an entire playthrough and not get certain storylines. It added replayability. But here, there's like maybe 10 storylines minimum. Oh, and GM mode is tied to your 24/7 mode, so if you want to do a GM mode, you have to delete your superstar save. That's stupid. I'm not a big GM mode guy, you know that if you've seen the other reviews, but would it kill them to make them separate save files? It worked on the PS2, guys, come on. This is also the last game that has GM mode until 2022's 2K22. Which I have more experience with than the old school GM mode, and I think the new GM mode in the 2K games are mediocre at best. Replacing the challenge mode is the Hall of Fame mode. This is one of the first times that a game mode focused on iconic matches of the past, if I can remember correctly. It's okay, it's just recreate famous matches like Shawn versus Brett, or Rock versus Austin, and you get little bonuses and you unlock them in the game. It's cool, I guess. SVR 2008 isn't an entirely terrible game, but does it follow up on 2007? Hell nah, son! It's not terrible though. Some people say it ruined the series, and I don't really agree. I think that's just kind of bullshit. It's a fun game, but it's not better than 2007 or 6 in my opinion. Next time on the channel, we will be taking a look at 2008 SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. I'll see you in the next video. Peace, I'm out. The last time we looked at SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, which to many people is a bad game, but to me is actually a pretty solid game. It just does a lot of flaws and didn't improve on 06 or 07. But today we will take a look at 2009, released in late 08. Thankfully, it does improve on a lot of the mistakes that 2008 made. And it does add some new things that for better actually freshen up the franchise. Jumping into the game, it is clear that one thing has already been fixed, and that is the gameplay speed. I personally never thought 08 was that slow, but it wasn't that enough to make it unbearable. But I can still appreciate that it isn't Here Comes the Pain fast, but it's fast enough to work as a game. Now, the roster, I'd argue, is actually better than 08, minus one small mistake that the devs made that I will talk about in a second. SVR 2008 features the best and the worst of 2008. We get the video game debuts of Santino Marella, The Miz, Kofi Kingston, Jimmy Wang Yang, Jesse, Festus, future WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, Beth Phoenix, Brian Kendrick, and finally Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. The roster is solid, but it's lacking in the Legends department, with there only being two here, and that's Taz and that's Ric Flair. Now, the reason being why Yuke's decided to scrap Legends was because they had a game plan for the Mania season of 2009 called Legends of WrestleMania, which I will not be reviewing anytime soon. I haven't played the game in years, and I always thought it was boring as shit, but I'd actually like to review it someday now that I know the reason why it was made the way it was. Now, there are a lot more tag teams on the roster, and that's due to this game's marketing featuring having to focus on tag team wrestling. New to SVR 2009 are the tag finishers and the hot tag feature, and it's okay. I don't think it's as all that they claim it to be, but still a good step in the right direction nonetheless. But also, I didn't really play any tag matches in this game, so maybe just my mistake. Jumping in and playing the first match, you will notice one of two things. One, fighting styles from 2008 have been removed, and you can now store your signature move. Before, wrestlers' signatures were just in their moveset, like the Rock Spinebuster or Cena's 5-Knuckle Shuffle. But now they're their own dedicated slot. Still wish we could store our finishers, but I mean, what can you do? This is also the last game to feature intergender matches until the at the time about to release 2K25. See, this game was the last to release in the Ruthless Aggression era and technically the first PG era game. Yes, sadly we were entering the Dark Ages. Soundtrack-wise, it's really good. This is the first game to have the actual wrestlers' themes as part of the soundtrack as well, but for the sake of the video, I'll just be showing some songs from the licensed soundtrack.
Come inside and be afraid of this impressive mess I made. Take a look now, you will find I ain't thrown away my prize, done away with paradise. See what's going on inside my mind. I've had enough, I'm taking you down, taking you down. I've had enough, I'm taking you down, taking you down.
It's war and peace is more than beef. Must uphold the code we swore to keep. It's life and death, it's blood and sweat. We fight for love and respect. It's man to man, it's hand to hand. You make your fist, you take your stand. Prepared to throw down whenever it go down. Under pressure, don't fold, man, hold your ground. You got your pride and I got mine. It's all out war when you cross that line. I'm from LA, I grew up fighting. After school, no rules, clash of the tight. You're so much better. How many times have they broken every piece of your fragile pride?
This game has a career mode that is kind of just boring as hell. You just go out and wrestle, and that's kind of it. It's very boring in my opinion. Now, on to the meat and the bones of this game, which is known as Road to WrestleMania. Road to WrestleMania is a condensed season mode that sees one of 5 stories based on 6 superstars. The first one I did was Chris Jericho. This was the Y2J's first game since SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and you can tell they put a lot of stock into a storyline. It follows Jericho working at a title shot, and after a match, a code plays on the screen that is mocking Jericho's at the time gimmick of codes and Save Us Y2J. If you were watching WWE back in 2008, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jericho confronts Finlay, who he assumes is behind it, and it turns out it's not him. At the Rumble vs. Cena, a masked man runs in and causes the DQ finish. Jericho investigates almost everybody on the roster. Jericho finally catches the masked man, and it turns out to be Randy Orton, which was kind of obvious in my opinion. But it's fine, Orton beats Cena for the title, and Jericho wins it back at Mania. Next, I chose The Undertaker's Road to WrestleMania, and I can't lie, this storyline is wacky and stupid in a good way. First off, it has Taker feud with Santino Marella and Finlay. Huh? The two most, hey, I'm just here on the roster guys at the time. Taker obviously destroys them for weeks, and they keep teasing someone called The Man, who is revealed to be the Boogeyman, and I was actually kind of hyped about this. Don't get me wrong, the Boogeyman wasn't that scary, but the promos between him and Taker could have been amazing in my opinion. Maybe that's just me. Later, Santino and The Undertaker have a ladder match for the urn, and after pulling it down, The Undertaker turns Santino into a literal zombie. What is this, ECW 06? Anyway, the Boogeyman kills Santino and then does the JOB at Mania and to Taker in a Hell in a Cell match. Next was Triple H, and it's your typical, I am the game, I am the diamond of the industry storyline, until SmackDown vs. Raw 08 gives you the option to either choose to reform DX or Evolution. Up to this point, I had always chosen DX, so for the first time, I chose Evolution, so sorry Sean, it's 2002 all over again. And it lasts all of 2 weeks. Great. Reforming Evolution feels like a waste of time because Triple H just uses Orton to get a title shot, which he wins anyway. In the comments, let me know, what did you choose when you first played this game? DX or Evolution? Have the GOAT, Mr. Fruity Pebbles himself, John Cena. It's actually my favorite storyline in the game. See, after defeating MVP at Tribute to the Troops, MVP's like, you know what? I hate the US, I'm gone. And then this guy forms his own country called Better Than Utopia, and he runs roughshod with his cabinet William Regal and Umaga. MVP really got the biggest push of his career in a video game. He also makes Cena compete in what is called Better Than Utopia rules.
Rule number 1. I need a 5 count to pin a Utopian. But you guys just need a 3 count on me. Who am I, King Kong Bundy? Rule 2, amid the ipsos and factos, says I can't use rope breaks. But you can. That's very clever. Rule number 3, I think says Utopians can leave the ring at will. But I'll be counted out. Anything else? Nothing about tying my hands behind my back?
Well, there is one more bit of fine print.
What does it say?
All's fair in love and war.
So Cena goes super mode and destroys Umaga and Regal, and finally it's time for MVP vs. Cena. And the ending to this Road to WrestleMania sucks ass. It's an Iron Man match, which, bleh, but it's also a shoot 15 minutes. Awesome, that's really cool actually. Like, why, man? Why's it gotta be shoot 15 minutes? I didn't like this ending, that's just me personally though. If you liked it, good on you. Anyway, moving on, the resident third brand, WWE ECW, gets some representation with this CM Punk storyline, and it's actually really well done. It's Punk going for the ECW title, and after defeating Dreamer, ECW tries to ban extreme matches, and it's Punk and Dreamer trying to fight back and keep what made ECW intact, even though by this point Vince had already killed and made it intact. It's actually a cool storyline though, because it sees Taz be a heel commentator a few years before TNA did it, and it actually sees him compete in the ring, and Taz playable in any video game to me? Solid game. Finally, we have the co-op mode, Rey Mysterio and Batista. You can also play solo. I chose Rey Mysterio. but it's your standard tag team storyline that actually ends with them competing with each other at Mania for the title. There's also a little feud with Edge right in there, which is really cool. There was this funny moment where it's no DQ, so you can help Batista win the world title, and no joke, Edge kicked out of like 7 Batista bombs. I'm not joking. He really got the Hulk Hogan booking. Road to WrestleMania is a very good mode, and besides season mode, it's the best story-based mode in any WWE game series, to my opinion. 09, not a bad game. Solid improvement over 2008. But up to this point, 07 still the best game. Now, next up, we're going to go and play SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, which is a game that I believe was the very first wrestling game I ever played. So, I have some stories to tell about that. But anyway, I digress. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 is a game that I have a special connection with. Not only was it the first wrestling game I ever played, but one of the first video games I ever played in general. Last time I reviewed SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, and today we have the last WWE game of the 2000s, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. SVR 2010 continues the tradition of adding something new to the game each year. When I booted up the game, the first thing I did was go into Superstar Threads. This allows you to customize wrestlers, so now you don't have to use the same Rey Mysterio attire all year long. It isn't like today where you can add logos and have up to 100 creative parts in the suite. It's just changing colors of the wrestlers, but it's very appreciated here. The main menu is also redesigned well too. When you start up the game, you're booted into a training facility that's modeled exactly after FCW, WWE's at the time developmental system. Hitting the pause buttons will actually brings up your match options. And when you select your match, there's only one new one here, the Championship Scramble. Now, it's essentially a dumbed down version of the Iron Survivor match seen today. It was only seen 3 times on one show, Unforgiven 2008. In the match I recorded, it ended in a complete draw with 0 falls in the entire match, so that was kind of fun, but I would not mind seeing this match type come back in a future 2K title. In the roster department, making their video game debuts are Jack Swagger, Gail Kim, Dolph Ziggler, The Bellas, R-Truth. I know he appeared in Raw as K-Quick, but this is his debut as R-Truth. Mike Knox, Natalia, and Maurice. Now, starting out my first match playing this game for the first time in years, I was excited to get back into this game, because it was a game that I really loved to play. And when I played my first match in a while, I couldn't help but think, oh, this isn't as good as I remember. It feels kind of clunky and slow at times. I have heard that the 360 version does run better than the PS3 version. I don't know how true that is. If you want to confirm in the comments, please do, but maybe it's just my PS3 issue. I'm not burying this game by any means. I still think it's a good-ass game, but I guess I was just blinded by nostalgia in a way. But I stuck through it, I played a few more matches, and I eventually got used to it again. And I'm glad I did, because this game actually is a good time. We finally get new camera angles where the more impact moves you hit, the camera will shift and turn, and eventually we will get that classic SmackDown camera. There's also just small attention to details in the presentation overall, like flashbulbs going on when you hit your finisher. The Royal Rumble has been revamped with an all-new minigame that has you tap the buttons rapidly or correctly time a minibar. This new Rumble is fun, but if you want to just cheese it, just cheese the corner elimination. Sadly though, I did get eliminated, but it is what it is. And here's a fun fact, the cutscene that plays in the current 2K games when it's down to the final 2, debuted in this game. They haven't changed it in 16 years. The AI has been improved as well. They are more likely to kick out of finishers and reverse more often. Road to WrestleMania has been brought back, and the storylines here are better than 09, I'd argue. The first one I selected was Randy Orton. Prime Psycho Orton is here. He wins the World Heavyweight title and then defends it against The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell, and then throws him off of it. At the same time, the Ascension and Legacy starts to happen. The cracks in the foundation start to show. Cody asks Randy to ref a match between him and future inmate Ted Jr. During the match, though, Legacy turns on Randy. And after that, it was at that moment that Legacy knew they f***ed up. Randy crashes out. He RKO's his dad, RKO's Dusty, and Ted Sr. The game eventually will let you choose who to take hostage. 2009 Randy Orton was about that life, and at Mania, it ends in a legacy triple threat. This happened a few months before it happened in real life, so either the WWE writing team had stole this, or it was already talked about and Ukes just happened to do it first. Next up, we have the co-op story of John Cena and Triple H. This storyline is way too damn long, by the way. Both recording files are about an hour and 30 minutes long. Holy shit. It starts with the whole, oh, can we coexist? And then it turns into an ECW takeover. Big Show, the man with more face and heel turns than I have subscribers, pulls up to Cena's locker room and GG's Cena gets clapped. And then he destroys the championship. Triple H isn't safe either, he gets clapped. So Cena and Hunter pull up to ECW and clap the entire roster in response. And they vandalize the ring. This was as close as we got to a Cena heel turn until this past Saturday.
Just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Mania comes, and of course, it's another Iron Man match. Did Cena just watch 90s HBK? Like, what's with the Iron Man match back-to-back years? Oh, and by the way, lol, Cena wins. HBK storyline is just him feuding with JBL. And that was just it. To me, it was pretty boring, so we're just gonna gloss over it. The Mickie James storyline, however, isn't boring. It's like a role reversal of how Mickie debuted with Natalya being an obsessive fan of Mickie James, and it's all cute and she's okay with it until it becomes borderline psychotic. And it ends with a match at Mania. And I don't know what the hell Ukes were on, but Natalya becomes some sort of technical goddess here. This match took me like 2 tries to complete, but hey, eventually I got it done. But what's really cool about the storyline is the fact that this has an all-female Rumble in it. And this would not happen in real life for another 8 years. So this game actually predicted the Women's Rumble in a way. Well, the first time ever, we got our own creative character storyline. This is the perfect segue, actually, to go into the new gimmick for SVR 2010. It was the overhauled Creation Suite. The paint tool debuted here, and it's a suite that allows for whatever you can imagine. I didn't record anything paint tool related for 2010, but I did for 2011, and I'll have more thoughts on it then. But we really do take for granted just having the ability to download logos off the community creations. People back in the day were gods with this. Like, I can't imagine making this on the paint tool. Speaking of community creations, it also made its debut in SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. It's very basic and bare bones compared to today, but it was the debut of something that we rely on. The Creation Suite itself is nice, with well over 100 different layers of trunks, tights, etc. And here's me at SVR 2010. The Call storyline starts with UC in the front row watching Santino defend the Intercontinental title. Santino insults the crowd and goads you into coming into the ring. You jump the barricade, kick his ass, and you win the title. The same way that Santino debuted. Vince is upset because we aren't on a contract, and we are the active champion. So Vince does everything he can to stop us. He gets Kozlov and Ezekiel Jackson to jump us. Nah, I grew up watching Super Cena. Let's just destroy them both. Finally, Vince has enough and says if we can win the Rumble, we will get our contract. And the game actually does let you do the whole Tumblr gimmick. Sadly, I got number 4. But it's okay, I had that Hulk Hogan booking and dumped everybody. After winning the Rumble, Vince does this whole deal where he's like, hey, you need to have your own finish, so you make your own custom finisher. Now, looking back at this is funny. See, in all the other stories, if you have custom attires, you can change them because of the Superstar threads, but because this is your created character, you can customize the character. So, I went to go change my attire for the visual sake of the video, and I see this.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
I'm assuming this is a joke on how WWE was known to give people ridiculous gimmicks and looks and change what was already established, but this neon looking shit is bad, I'm sorry. And it gets goofier. Before the chamber, Santino replaces your gear with a chicken suit. No, I'm not kidding. Finally, our character has had enough and challenges Vince to a match at Mania. It goes down, and of course I beat Vince, but no, the chicanery continues. Vince makes it a first blood match, and I beat him with one chair shot. that's okay, Vince sticks his goons on us and we make him bleed and kick their asses. And finally, I put Vince through a table. Finn. There is a second ending where you do make Vince do the chicken dance, but sadly I did not get this ending. Finally, we get my favorite storyline in the game, the Edge Road to WrestleMania. This is prime Edge, sleazy getting with the GM Edge. Mr. Kennedy actually gets the biggest push here with him being the WWE Champion in the storyline. Edge wins the match and convinces Vince to let Maria of all people be the GM of SmackDown. And he manipulates her into doing his bidding, letting him pick his matches, getting easy victories. Later, Maria gets concussed, and at the hospital, Edge just happens to have the power of attorney papers with him, and this cracked me up, I won't even lie. Later, Maria finds out how she got concussed and turns on Edge, so she books a steel cage match for Mania. It's a banger, and as we are about to escape, it's a swerve, bro! And Maria turns heel and helps Edge win. Real quick, I'd like to take a look at the banger soundtrack, because unfortunately, this was the last game until 2K15 to have a licensed soundtrack. So, here you go, here's some of my favorite tracks from the game.
Just another war, just another family torn from my feet today. Just a step on the edge, just another day in the world we live. I need a hero, save me now. I need a hero, save me now. I need a hero, save my life. A hero will save the day. You never see the things that I've seen bottled up inside. This time I'm taking back my life. The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it. So stay away from me, the beast is ugly. I feel the rage and I just can't hold it. It's scratching on the walls, in the closet and the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it.
Now, one last thing before we go. I briefly want to touch on the story designer. See, when I made my 2K25 wishlist video, I got a lot of comments about Story Designer, and I had messed with it in 2K14, but I never really learned how to use it. I did screw around with it. I didn't record it, sadly, but I was screwing around with it when I was playing 2010, and I can see why it could come back. And for people who make 2K shows or colleagues, if you know what those are, I could see why this would be helpful to them. So, yeah, just wanted to briefly touch on Story Designer, because I know if I didn't, people would crucify me in the comments. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. We're now on the last SmackDown vs. Raw game, 2011. My favorite wrestling game of all time, so you know I'm going to put it over big time. Can't wait for you guys to see that video. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace. I'm out. They say that all good things must come to an end, and for SmackDown vs. Raw, it did in the form of 2011. 2011 is my favorite wrestling game of all time, so let's see how it holds up in 2025. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 is one of those wrestling games that you can play for a long ass time and never get bored. It's very fun and addicting. See, it added a new physics system that now, for example, when you slam your opponent onto a ladder or any kind of foreign object, rather than just not reacting to it, they'll actually react to it and sell it, which is really cool. Same with the tables, you don't need a dedicated table move anymore to break it. Any move is capable of putting your opponent through a table. What's also cool is that it can break in any way and position, so say I put the table on the ropes or the apron, it'll still break all the same, which is really cool. I find that this change makes a lot of the more no DQ oriented matches more fun and chaotic, which is always a good thing for me in my wrestling games. I like chaos and fun. Getting the complaints out of the way, I only really have two, and that's the fact that for some dumbass reason they decided to remove the soundtrack, which I don't understand why they would do that, because the soundtrack was one of the best parts of this game series. I assume it came down to licensing, but I don't see why when all the previous games had soundtracks, and this would be the last WWE game to have a licensed soundtrack until 2K15. And my other complaint is the fact that the DLC has been scrubbed off almost every digital storefront. I believe that the DLC is still available in like Hong Kong or Japan somewhere. I heard that rumor a long time ago. I don't know if that's true or not. But most of the DLC has been scrubbed off almost every digital storefront. And plus, you need the dumbass online pass to get it anyway. I hate the online pass era with every fiber of my being. It stopped a lot of people from getting DLC like Lex Luger or the Nexus, which was really cool additions at the time, especially the Nexus, because this was the year that they debuted and were really white hot. I'm so glad that the online pass era is behind us, and that shit like this doesn't happen anymore. Now that my complaints are all out of the way, let's talk about the good stuff about this game. The biggest new addition, arguably in the series history, is the Universe mode. It debuted here, and it's lasted ever since. Even today, 2K25, Universe mode has still been in these games, which is amazing to me. See, this is before it became overly complicated to set up, and it's really simple here. It's cool too because at first all the arenas are locked, so how do you unlock them? Easy. Just play a match in Universe mode. It's that easy, which is really cool to me because it's not overcomplicated to unlock things in this game. Universe mode would go on, like I said, to be one of the biggest game modes in franchise history, and this is where it all started. Personally, the best Universe mode for me was WWE 12, with just how unique and crazy it is, but 2011's is still unique in its own way. See, sometimes before a match, maybe your opponent will jump you or your rival will get front row tickets to the match. The most random, bizarre things can happen, and you never know what's going to occur. Jumping into a match and selecting a character, we get the brand new Mortal Kombat style selection screen. It's very appreciated here, and I think it looks very clean and suits this game if I'm going to be honest. We also have a bunch of people making their roster debuts. Making their video game debuts are Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Alicia Fox, the New Heart Foundation, Luke Gallows, and Vance Archer, who proceeded to never appear in a WWE game again. This game also has a lot of really cool unlockables. Jimmy Snuka, Jake Roberts, even Rob Van Dam, who was in TNA at the time of this game's release, which is really cool.
For the third year in a row, we have another Road to WrestleMania, and there's 5 storylines this time, but did you know that there was a cut 6th one? Yeah, writer Justin Leeper revealed that there was a cut storyline involving The Miz, and WWE themselves cut it. Assholes.
Road to WrestleMania gets a big upgrade in the form of the backstage area. It's essentially a fully explorable hub with different locker rooms and superstars you can go talk to, and it's really cool. It does kind of feel like a third-person wrestling game if you really think about it. Now, of course, the current game, WWE 2K25, has a third-person camera, but this was like kind of the first time a wrestling game had done something like this to my knowledge, and it's really cool, actually. Speaking of the storylines, the first one I selected was the Versus Undertaker one. Now, the game allows you to pick from real superstars like Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and John Morrison, but it also lets you select your custom-created character, so that's exactly what I did. In my own headcanon, I like to pretend that this is the same call from 2010's Road to WrestleMania just a year later, but I don't know, they never explicitly say that, but that's just my own personal headcanon. But the Versus Undertaker is my favorite in the game. It starts with a tournament, and you take on Randy Orton first, and you beat him. And I learned this recently, which is cool. If you go to talk to him after the match, he'll actually attack you, and you get into a backstage brawl with Randy Orton, which I think is a really cool Easter egg that I never knew about. But pretty much you just win the right to take on Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he just doesn't take well to it. He attacks you, he plays mind games. There's one time when you get to the arena, The entire backstage has been like Undertaker-fied. I won't even lie, this scared the hell out of me as a kid, but now I think it's awesome. Paul Bearer even shows up, and it's funny because your character can see Paul Bearer, we the audience can see Paul Bearer, but everybody else can't see Paul Bearer.
You lost your mind, dude. You know that, right?
He has to compete in some matches against former WrestleMania opponents of The Undertaker, and then eventually you get to beat the crap out of him in your locker room. Only problem is it's got a 2-minute timer, and I failed on 3 attempts because of the timer, so that's nice. But it's fine. WrestleMania comes. It's your boy Undertaker. We tear the house down. It's a 5-star classic. It would have been 7 if it had more super kicks and at the Tokyo Dome, but it's fine, and I break the Undertaker's streak. There is an alternate ending if you lose where he turns you into a druid, but I didn't get this ending because I won. But this is my favorite storyline in the game. For the 3rd consecutive year in a row, we have a John Cena Road to WrestleMania. I get he was the face of the company, but Jesus Christ, 3 straight Road to WrestleMania storylines. It's actually a pretty good one. Now, of course, it has to be him feuding Randy Orton, because what else can you do at this point? What's also cool about it, too, is that MVP appears again, and he's involved with another Cena storyline, but he's actually a face this time. Him and Cena are boys. Orton's really good, too. He's his iconic 2010 heel self. But what's really cool is that he actually somehow becomes the Raw GM, and he makes Cena compete in those outrageous matches. Something that caught my attention when playing this was that they actually mentioned the Better Than Utopia rules from 2009. They directly reference it too, so it's like, okay, this is the same continuity, this is the same universe that takes place in, which is really cool. He even frames Cena to make him look like the bad guy. Before WrestleMania, Orton makes Cena MVP compete in a match, and later he tells them to grab a steel chair and smack the other with it. Now, the game instructs you to do it, but you actually don't have to. You don't have to grab the chair, and the AI will actually do it for you. So, for me, MVP smacks Cena with the chair. Cena forces Randy Orton to let him in the title match, and we get to Mania, and of course, lol, Cena wins. Since returning to the company the prior year, Christian gets his own Road to WrestleMania storyline. It starts out with him being ECW champion, carrying ECW on his back, which was funny because by the time this game came out, ECW was actually dead as a company. Teddy Long ends up making a trade to get Christian on SmackDown, and once that happened, it pretty much becomes an Edge and Christian reunion. With the music, the crowd entrance, the goggles, everything. Christian wins the Money in the Bank briefcase and has the option to cash in on either Edge or Shawn Michaels. I chose Shawn Michaels because I didn't want to be a heel, and me and Shawn have a TLC match at Mania and tear the house down. Rey Mysterio's story starts with his car literally getting T-boned, and Rey is done. He's clapped. He's got amnesia and GG's for everybody. And all of a sudden, Jack Swagger becomes Rey's best friend, and they just run roughshod SmackDown. Rey has officially lost his innocence. Now Swagger and Rey are boys. They go full situation and Ronnie being dicks at the club, and it's great. And everybody tries to tell Rey that Jack is using him. Eventually, Rey gets put into a fatal 4-way ladder match for the contract of a title match. Rey wins, and then Evan Bourne reveals the truth. And the game will actually let you choose to forgive Jack. Like, what the hell is that about? Why would you forgive someone who T-boned you? I've been through enough heel turns recently, so nah, fam. Later, we need to compete in a tag match, and who does Rey ask to be his partner? Mr. 420 Rob Van Dam. I still think it's really cool that they included him in this game when he wasn't under contract. Rey makes it to Mania and becomes world champion once again. Last, but certainly not least, we have the second Chris Jericho story. This one's really cool because you're the heel, you're not the babyface. And unlike SVR 2009, this is Suit Jericho. A lot of things go down here, from Jericho winning the US title and beating up the Big Show, or just straight up stealing the WWE title. And Triple H won't give him a title shot, and even putting Hunter through the Jarrettron 5000. It's a really cool storyline, like Jericho being heel and just being that slimy scumbag heel he was from 08 to 2010 is really cool to see here. It ends in a giant Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania, and this might be my second favorite storyline in the entire game. Overall, man, this game was just fun. I love this game to death, and just me personally, I think this is the best SmackDown vs. Raw title. What a great way to end a series of games. From 2004 to 2010, this series entertained countless gamers and wrestling fans, and many people still want it back. So in conclusion, I believe that SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 is the best in the series.
It's been fun to look back at every single SmackDown vs. Raw game. Peace.
Okay, so we're looking at another wrestling game today, and it's a bad one. Now, don't worry, it's not Def Jam Icon again. Today, we're looking at Raw 2 for the original Xbox. Now, this game came out back in a time when the three main consoles, that being the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the original Xbox, all had their own wrestling game series. Now, obviously, the PlayStation had the iconic SmackDown series, which later graduated to the SmackDown vs. Raw series, so they were eating good. GameCube had the WrestleMania games and later Day of Reckoning, and the Xbox had Raw. Now we're skipping Raw 1. Raw 1 came out back in 2002 and it's honestly a piece of shit. Like, it's worse than many games I've played before, so we're just gonna skip it. Now Raw 2 released the next year in 2003, and while being an improvement, it still somehow gets a lot wrong. Quick little sidebar before we start, my original Xbox does not work anymore, so I'm playing this through the Zemu emulator. So if I say R1, it's because I'm using a PlayStation controller. Now, to be positive for a minute, we do have some positives about this game that I think make this game unique to any other wrestling game at the time. First, we have one of the most impressive rosters in a wrestling game. Everybody who was anybody in 2003 is here, and I mean that literally. Your main eventers like Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, or Kurt Angle are here, while some of the lower card guys like Tommy Dreamer and Shannon Moore make their one game appearance in Shannon Moore's case. Every character has two attires, each so they could just be a promo attire, and others have actual alternate in-ring attire, which is really cool to see. There's also a good selection of the female cast, including the likes of Lita, Trish Stratus, Victoria, and more. Now, getting into the matches, we have up to 9 selectable match types that can have up to 6 people at once. Of course, we have the standard one-on-one. We have the hardcore and street fight. I'm grouping these together because they're pretty much the same thing. It's a standard match with no DQ and falls count anywhere, and you can pull out a variety of weapons from under the ring, from tables, 2 different sized ladders, trash cans, and more. And I do want to put over the fact that this game actually has the tables to break the way they do in real life. This is something I've wanted in the 2K games for over 10 years now. Now, this game does have some pretty cool Easter eggs and features. One that I want to put over is the fact that if you use Tommy Dreamer in a hardcore or street fight match, he actually will come out with his iconic Singapore cane and will start the match with it equipped, which is really cool. I've only ever really seen that in the WCW game for the N64. La Parka had his steel chair already in hand, so that's actually a really cool attention to detail that I like. Up next, we have the ladder matches, and they just don't quite work as intended. See, once you climb a ladder, your character just jumps forward, so you need to place the ladder a few inches back, and once you get to hang onto the belt, you need to mash the buttons, but this also doesn't quite work as intended. The match I recorded, I somehow still lost to Christian, even though I was there first and was up there longer. So how did I lose exactly? We also have table matches, which are self-explanatory. The steel cage is here, and it also just doesn't really work. Of course, there are no pinfalls here, just escaping the cage, and if you're not sure how to climb up or down, it's gonna be a problem. The climb up for me, since I'm on an emulator, it's up in R1, and to escape, it's down in R1. I'm gonna assume the shoulder buttons are acting as the white and black buttons on a normal Xbox controller, but I could be wrong about that. And finally, we do have the Devil's Playground, Hell in a Cell. The Hell in a Cell is huge here, and that's awesome. One of my biggest complaints about the Hell in a Cell in the current 2K games is how small it is. It's super tight-knit, and on the outside, you can't really do much. But here in Raw 2, you can actually freely move around and walk on the outside. Now, the only way to get weapons is not from under the ring. You have to actually break the door open and grab chairs from the announce table, which is kind of annoying, but I'll take it. Now, we also have the Royal Rumble, and it does something that no other wrestling game to my knowledge has ever done. You can actually exit the ring and grab weapons and bring them into the Royal Rumble match. While not being common today, this was actually a fairly common occurrence back in the late Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression era. And I think that if 2K were to add this and add the fact that you can exit the ring and the Rumble bring weapons would be a really nice detail and make Rumble matches a lot more fun and bring something new. So, believe it or not, this game actually does some things that I think they do better than 2K. Another positive I have are the fact that finishers actually look good and devastating. Now, some of them do look like complete dog shit, but look at this F5 animation. It's pretty good. Every wrestling game needs a creation suite, right? Of course, and Raw 2 has one, and honestly, it's really good. It has well over 100 call parts, and has some of the deepest entrance customization I have ever seen for a wrestling game. You can change the color of the lighting, the timing of your pyro, You could even rip a song off of your CD and put it onto your console, which, because I'm on an emulator, I can't exactly show you, but pretty cool feature to have. Now, gameplay-wise, this game is hit or miss. For one, it's very clunky most of the time, and I find that some of my inputs just don't register. Counters work whenever they feel like it. Now, the main way you end the match is to do enough moves to get your gauge to red. Once it starts flashing, grab your opponent, hit X and A, and boom. Unfortunately, the AI just loves to kick out at 2, and in some cases 1 on your finisher. It has become apparently clear that the spirit of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have entered my game and are trying to put on an AEW 5-star match. Jokes aside, the real reason why they kick out at 2 is due to the referees. This game has up to 5 selectable real-life referees, which you would think would be pretty cool, but they all count slower than shit. I was playing a match between Brock Lesnar and Rob Van Dam. I shit you not hit RVD with 5 F5s and it still ended in a 10-minute draw. Why? Because the referee. You know, Cody Rhodes once made this legendary quote.
And says, "Where is that referee? He was trying to fuck on me."
And damn it, that referee did fuck on me.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
I will say, however, the presentation is good here, with the entrances looking good. Sometimes, albeit, I did notice that some people on the roster that have outdated themes. Like in this game, Rob Van Dam still has his Alliance theme, and Matt Hardy has a theme that he's never used to my knowledge. During the match, camera cuts will be in effect, and whenever you hit your finisher, real-time replays will occur, which again, I believe this and Raw 1 are the only games to do this. Now, once you decide you're done dicking around an exhibition, we have the Season Mode. Season Mode sees you select a character, oddly no cause allowed, and you go through an entire calendar year of the WWE. Now, one of the more infamous things this game is known for is the side activities you can do, like stealing from people's bags or setting traps for people that, in my experience, fail every time. And I have a question: what wrestler is really gonna sit in the parking lot and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna set a trap for this guy"? Matches-wise, the first big match I had was defending my WWE Championship on SmackDown against RVD. This was the match I was talking about earlier with the 10-minute draw. Afterwards, it was immediately the first pay-per-view. Yeah, there's no... Usually how it works is there's no 4 shows. It's 1 SmackDown, 1 Raw, pay-per-view. I fought a match against the Big Show. For some reason, the Big Show turned in some technical god and reversed everything I threw at him. And it's here where the game can show how truly dumb the AI is. I'm going to play you guys a full clips of just how dumb the AI can get in this game. Just watch this. Somehow I lost this match and my championship despite mashing the face buttons like crazy. After this, I got the biggest emotion ever by facing Goldust on Raw, who still gave me a challenge somehow. Wow. Just wow. During the season mode, you can actually call out other wrestlers. Here you can see me calling out the Big Show because I want my belt back, but this doesn't lead to anything. There are 0 storylines in season mode, meaning you have to use your dumbass imagination. Sometimes the AI will make smart booking decisions, like I did rematch Goldust for the next week on SmackDown, but no actual storylines or programs is a bummer. There's also no dialogue or voiceover, just silent film promos. Even the GM of Raw or SmackDown will come out for a big match announcement, but there is no dialogue. Also, champions will come out with their belts for some reason. The season mode is fucked, you guys. Like, it is beyond fucked. I lost a King of the Ring tournament match against William Regal. Now, that'd be fine except for the fact I hit the man with 6 F5s, he still kicked out, and I lost to a stomp. Also, Tori Wilson won King of the Ring, by the way. Like, the booking decisions in this game actually make no sense. It boggles my mind to no end. Like, I'll give you an example. I faced The Undertaker. Then I teamed with him. I faced him again, and now I'm teaming with him again against The Rock and Hogan, which also, why the hell are The Rock and Hogan a tag team? I imagine this is some alternate universe where Vince Russo never goes to TNA and he's booking Raw 2 story mode, because this shit makes no sense. Also, the game booked Rey Mysterio versus Stephanie McMahon in a world title match, and Steph went over. Incredible storytelling. Now, clearly this game is flawed, very flawed in fact, but in my experience I find that if you just hop into exhibition mode and screw around, there is fun to be had here. With that being said, there's more negatives than there are positives, sadly, and that is why the final verdict for WWE Raw 2 on the original Xbox is a 5 out of 10. Now, will I play this game again? Will I turn it on, maybe screw around, have fun? Yeah, sure. Now, you're probably asking what happened. Well, the developers of this game, Anchor Inc., they actually went under after this, and then they ended up getting Studio Gigante, who was headed by John Tobias, to make WrestleMania 21, which, fuck that game, I'm never reviewing it, don't ask.
In the 2000s, Total Nonstop Action, or TNA, was the biggest rival company to the WWE. Total Nonstop Action Wrestling offered something different to the product the World Wrestling Entertainment was offering at the time. Now, some of the biggest professional wrestlers in the world got their start in TNA. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, just some examples. Even Sting, while not being a homegrown talent, was one of the biggest TNA stars. Now, I don't want to sit here and tell you the entire history of the Nashville-based promotion, because then we'd be here all day. Today we're looking at Total Nonstop Action's one and only video game. Now, it's interesting to see that this game was actually developed by Midway Games, specifically the Los Angeles branch. So, let's see if this game holds up or if it was never good at all. Now, the first hints of a TNA video game would be back in 2005, reported by Jay Cochran for the website Toy News International in November of 2005. Originally, it was reported that this would lead to a multi-year agreement with TNA to publish video games. And it was also reported that the first game would be released back in 2007. Now, almost nothing that was shown in the original image would be in the game, however. By the time it did release in September of 2008, both Jeff Hardy and Monty Brown had left TNA, and AJ Styles had a completely different look. Watching the behind-the-scenes videos, you can tell that the developers really did care about what they were making. One thing that I found that was personally cool was that the TNA wrestlers themselves would motion capture their own moves and mannerisms. This is cool because at the time, I believe WWE still had handcrafted animations for the SmackDown vs. Raw series, so I could be wrong about this, but this could be one of the first wrestling games to have motion capture. Now, getting into the game itself, you are greeted by a hyped up intro talking about TNA itself. And what's crazy is that AEW Fight Forever pretty much did copy the opening sequence to TNA Impact's intro.
There are moments when time stands still. When history unfolds, when we are bound by the magnificence of one singular event.
There are moments when time stands still. When history unfolds. When we are bound by the magnificence of one singular event.
Now, visually, I was actually shocked at how good this game still looks. Now, don't get me wrong, it definitely does have that PS3 era jank to it, but I think the wrestlers in the arenas look really, really detailed. Now, quickly, I'd like to briefly touch on the controls for this game, because they are pretty unique and odd for a professional wrestling game, in my opinion. See, your strikes are simple enough, just simply press square or X, but then you get into the grapples. L1 and triangle grapples, and then triangle does the subsequent move. Now, while I think that's pretty odd for a wrestling game, I do actually think it does somewhat make it unique for this title. R1 is your reversals, and what's really cool about the reversals in this game is that you can actually reverse the reversals, but the timing's pretty strict, so you're not going to get it every time. On the presentation front, the game does do a fine job. Now, I do hate that sadly we only have short entrances. I would have much rather have seen the full ones like the WWE games have. Don West and Mike Tenay do provide the color commentary here, and considering that these two are one of my favorite commentator groups of all time, it does make me feel like this could be a real match seen on TNA television. While not perfect commentary, I don't think it's abhorrently terrible. When connecting with the finishers, there are these dope cinematic camera cuts that show off the finisher. Now, they don't appear in multi-man matches, which is a downside, but the presentation in this game is really good.
A complaint that I have is that this game does lack in some match types. You would think with it being a TNA game we would see matches like the Six Sides of Steel or King of the Mountain, but the only TNA original match here is the Ultimate X match. Now, while Ultimate X is fun, I do wish we had gotten more match types that were seen on TNA television. Speaking of match types, I did play a triple threat between AJ Styles, Joe, and Daniels, and it's probably the most fun match I've had ever playing this game. Granted, it is the greatest triple threat match in TNA history, in fact professional wrestling history in my opinion, but just wanted to mention this. Now, this game does include a story mode, and frankly, it's a very interesting one. It follows a guy named Suicide, who they would actually turn into a real character on television to promote the game. Suicide here is voiced by Loki, or Senshi as he was called at the time, which is a fact that I would never have guessed if the man didn't come out and say it himself. To keep it simple stupid, Suicide wins the world title and gets the shit kicked out of him and dumped in Mexico. This leads to the Creation Suite, and it is not good, people. It's very basic and limited, sadly. Now, so far in this review, I have made it a point to try and not compare this game to the WWE games at the time, but I wish this Creation Suite was a lot like the way WWE handled theirs. Anyway, you make your character and are dumped in a gauntlet in Mexico. Now, one cool reference I noticed is that there's a character you fight called Nightwolf. That has to be a Mortal Kombat reference, which if it is, that's really cool. Now, after defeating 3 challengers, you get sent to an armory ran by these 2 ICP knockoffs. You beat them, and then the game gives you the first real challenge in the form of the first real wrestler, Cowboy James Storm. Beating him gets you a tryout in TNA. Now, after defeating all these random jobbers, you get to take on the Black Machismo himself, Jay Lethal. And winning that, you are now officially a TNA superstar. Now, I don't want to spoil the entire plot because this is a review, not a retrospective, but I do want to talk about this game's random as hell difficulty spikes. See, later in the tag division, you have to fight the Motor City Machine Guns. But this is one of the hardest matches in the game. And, you know, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, this is definitely a skill issue, which it could very well be, but this is not, okay, here's a mild challenge. No, this is bullshit. I hate bullshit challenges. I can't stand them. Like, this fight was so hard to the point that I almost considered not finishing the story mode because of it. I cannot stand when a game just hands you a bullshit hard match. Anyway, after no joke an hour, I finally get to 1, 2, 3, and then after, I challenge LAX to the tag titles. This match was also hard, but not nearly as hard as the Motor City Machine Guns match. Later, the game makes a big deal about you having to take on Samoa Joe. But, as Scott Steiner once said, he's fat! So, we're able to defeat him easily. Once again, without spoiling the entire story mode like I was originally going to, it's pretty good actually. The narrative is pretty good, and if you could ignore some of the harder matches, it's actually a pretty solid story mode, and I actually recommend it. It's pretty good actually. Now, TNA Impact isn't the best game of all time, but I actually enjoy it a lot, mainly for the novelty of it being TNA's only video game. Now, there was a reported sequel that was in the works until Midway filed for bankruptcy, and I would have loved to see a sequel to this game because I think it's a solid foundation to improve on. Like, imagine having more match types like the King of the Mountain or the Six Sides of Steel, or more weapons like tables. What could have been, man? Well, we hit our light goal, so today I'll be reviewing all 4 of the WWE GameCube exclusive games from the 2000s. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen plenty of other reviews on the GameCube games, and that's perfectly fine, but this one's going to be a tad bit different, as by the time these games actually came and went, I wasn't even born yet. So make sure you stick around to the end to see my full thoughts on these games. Starting with WWE WrestleMania 18 released in 2002. Now I put the emphasis on the WWE because while yes, this is technically the first WWE game, all the logos and branding still have the old WWF Scratch logo. Now I am happy to report we do have a lot of good things to talk about, the first thing being the roster. At Jump, the roster includes over 30 playable wrestlers, ranging from the main event to the mid-card. This is also the first game to include a lot of the WCW/ECW standouts, most notably being Rob Van Dam and Booker T. Each member of the roster has an alternate attire, which is also always cool to see. Seeing Kane's all-red attire from Survivor Series 2001 popped me huge. But I feel like we're missing some people. Where's Latino Heat? Billy Kidman? Never seen him. Hell, we're missing people that were actually on the show this game is named after. Where the fuck is Maven? I know he wasn't exactly the most popular wrestler ever, but I feel like he should have been in a lot more games, this one included. But hey, for being real, the roster is very solid. Graphics wise, the game does look pretty impressive, albeit the art style is a little goofy for my taste. Like, Rob Van Dam looks like he's a Jack Pacific figure. He looks like he's been taking tainted supplements, if you know what I mean. And some of the face scans are shoddy at best. Jeff Hardy looks nothing like Jeff Hardy in my opinion. Moving on to a really good part of WrestleMania 18 is the entrances. These entrances are really damn good, and this will be an recurring theme with the other GameCube games. During my time playing WrestleMania 18, I couldn't find a single bad entrance animation. But some people on the roster do have very inaccurate themes, like the Hardys once again do not have their real theme, which I find strange because their main theme has always been royalty-free music. Anyway, jumping into the gameplay itself, there's a very solid foundation here. I compare it in a way to Shut Your Mouth, a direction input followed by hitting the A button on your grapples. We have Irish whips, anything you could think of in a wrestling game. And I'm happy to report this is a very pick up and play wrestling game. It isn't too technical, and you can learn how to play everything in about 5 minutes. Finishers do look shoddy at best. Some of them are really good looking, while the others are just straight up bad. I mean, Jeff Hardy's Swanton Bomb is pretty fucked up. On the match type end, we have a lot of choices. Unlike the last wrestling game I reviewed, which was 2003's Raw 2 for the Xbox, the cage and ladder matches A actually work and B are actually fun. Cage matches actually take time, you can't just climb up and win, and it's also because the AI isn't dumb in this game. They do catch me slipping from time to time. The way the cage match works is you climb up and mash the A button, and again, you can't just instantly escape within 30 seconds. You need to beat down your opponent and give yourself enough time to climb out. Ladder matches and TLC by proxy are exactly the same. While being similar to Raw 2's belt grabbing, it actually works here. And again, you can't just instantly grab the belt and spam A. The AI actually tries its hardest to stop you, which I appreciate. Do be careful, however, because if you're in a tag team ladder match, the AI can just grab your ladder while you're on it and fuck you up. Hell in a Cell is also really good. It's actually close to the real size and scale, which is really cool to see. It's got plenty of space on the outside to move around freely, which I wonder why 2K doesn't do this. The Hell in the Cell matches in the current 2K games kind of suck because how limited the outside is. Now, in terms of game modes, everybody loves a season mode, right? Oh wait, this game doesn't have a season mode. Instead, we have 2 main game modes. The first is Path of a Champion. It's essentially an arcade ladder where you select one of the 6 titles to chase after. I chose the world title and picked The Rock. And it was going well until I got stuck in a triple threat steel cage match with Rob Van Dam and Tajiri. And one of the features this game has is that moves can be interrupted, and this became very fucking annoying after a while. I actually got stuck here and couldn't complete this after like 3 tries, so I just gave up and moved on. We also have Battle for the Belts. Battle for the Belts sees you select one of many fictional belts, and it's a one-life arcade ladder, and I mean that literally. I lost to Lita, and that was it. It kicked me out straight to the main menu. Sadly, these are the only 2 game modes outside of Exhibition, and that's really my biggest complaint with WrestleMania 18 is it's lacking content. But for the very first WWE game on the GameCube, it's a very solid first effort, and the final verdict is a 6 out of 10. Moving on a year to 2003, we have WrestleMania 19, and hot damn, if this isn't an upgrade, I don't know what is. They changed up the gameplay in a good way. Controls are exactly the same, but now we have a weak and strong grapple system, just like the old Aki games on the N64. This adds multiple new gameplay animations and honestly makes the gameplay 10 times better. Looking at the roster, it's very good with a lot of standouts from 2002 and 3. Guys like John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar, and more. But there are some guys that I feel like could have made the cut. Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas aren't here, strangely. Still no Maven, and even my favorite wrestler of all time, Jeff Hardy, was removed, but that is kind of cheating because he did get fired from the company. Right off the bat, I have one complaint, and we have the lack of arenas. Only 5 here. That's kind of annoying, but hey, it's alright. All of the match types carry over from WrestleMania 18, but the Hell in the Cell does get a new feature where you can actually climb the inside of the cell, which I think is really cool. Now, I'm sure you just want me to cut all this shit and get to the most infamous part of WrestleMania 19. the revenge mode. The premise is simple. Vince is done with you, he's had enough of your bullshit, and has kicked you out of the arena. Waiting outside at 10 o'clock at night is Stephanie, who concocts a plan to get your revenge. Hence the name of revenge mode. You have 5 levels with 5 objectives. Up first, we have the construction site, where your objective is to throw security guards and workers to their death. Oh yeah, shit just got dark. If you've ever wondered what would happen if Streets of Rage met WWE, this would be it. Now, it seems simple at first, but soon it gets very overwhelming. Soon you'll be getting jumped by multiple people, and I hit my first roadblock. I got stuck on a level where the objective is to climb a wall and defeat The Rock. That's fine until you factor in the multiple guards and builders attacking you, and by the time you throw them off, they just instantly respawn. And by the time I even climbed the wall, I couldn't even throw The Rock off, and the time ran out. I tried it 2 more times and got so pissed, so I just moved on to the mall level. The first objective is to make all the guards bleed. And that seems simple enough, but the guards take forever to bleed for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I was there for over 20 minutes just trying to make one guard bleed. But, just like with the construction site, I got stuck again. One of the objectives is to break 3 signs, which seems simple enough, but by the time that I break the first 2 and even put a small dent in the third one, the timer runs out. Yes, this is a skill issue on my part, but this is going to be a very hot take, but I don't like revenge mode. I really don't like revenge mode. I find it too hard and challenging, and I'm playing on fucking easy. Consider this my I did not care for the Godfather moment, and it sucks because I heard so many good things, and while it can be fun and the idea is awesome, I just don't like the execution of it, and I don't like the mode at all. Also, I find myself fighting with the camera during revenge mode. It's not as bad as other games where the camera's terrible, but I did battle with it. Now, revenge mode is hands down probably the most wild story mode put into a WWE game, and again, while the idea is cool, I just do not like the execution of it. And what sucks too is you can actually use the revenge stages in normal matches, which I can't do because I couldn't beat revenge mode. But despite me not liking revenge mode, WrestleMania 19 is a damn good wrestling game and a very big improvement on 18. In terms of roster and gameplay as well. So the final verdict for WrestleMania 19 is a 7 out of 10. Now, just like its big brother, SmackDown, the GameCube would get a name change in the form of Day of Reckoning. After not me having the best time with 19, I was very skeptical, but after playing a few matches, dude, I fucking love Day of Reckoning. I don't exactly know what it is, but once again, we get a gameplay evolution in the form of an actual submission meter, and also, if you try to pick up a giant like the Big Show, you need to actually work towards it in a lifting minigame. That is nice. I had way too much fun just playing Day of Reckoning. The roster is exactly the same as the original SVR. In fact, a lot of them have the exact same model. Although, the character portraits do look a little funny. I mean, Triple H just doesn't look right to me. And I can't praise the GameCube games enough for how detailed they got the entrances, and Day of Reckoning delivers. Seeing Victoria's dance entrance popped me big time, and she even has the Nicki Minaj theme. It's the sped up version, but hey, that's alright. I'm also happy to report we finally get more than 5 arenas to play in. Every pay-per-view up to WrestleMania 20 is being bought in the game's shot zone, which is really cool to see. Also, Day of Reckoning has unlockable legends. You unlock these by completing various chapters of the story mode that we will speak about here in a second. Strangely though, they don't have their real themes, but I will say, Andre the Giant coming out to Breaking Benjamin kicks fucking ass. And that's actually a perfect segue into the game's soundtrack. I won't speak on it a bunch because it's literally just the same as the original SmackDown vs. Raw, which isn't a complaint because that soundtrack also kicks ass. But this isn't even the best part of Day of Reckoning. The best part is the story mode. That's right, we finally get a fully fledged story mode. The story starts you off in WWE's developmental system, a clear nod to OVW, where you'd wrestle in front of Jonathan Coachman to prove you have what it takes. After paying your dues, you move up to Sunday Night Heat before finally getting called up to the main roster. And the game gives you a choice. Do you want to go to Raw or SmackDown? I chose SmackDown. I was expecting the typical good guy babyface saves the day and makes his way up the ranks and wins the title. That's not the case at all. If you go to SmackDown, you join the Undertaker's fucking Ministry of Darkness. Holy shit. And it's actually a good story. You team up with Charlie Haas until you kick him out. You get to win the tag titles with Booker T, which quickly I want to mention this hard as shit ladder match against the Bashams. Fuck this ladder match. Later on down the line, you get a US title shot against Charlie Haas, but you get DQ'd. Booker T steals your title shot. When you confront the Ministry about it, you get beat to shit. Luckily, GM Kurt Angle has our back, and we get another title shot, and after like 15 finishers, I am the US champion. It's a very good and well-written story. There's betrayals, swerves, bro, even bounties being put on your character's head, and I was having a very good time up until the Royal Rumble. I haven't really mentioned it up to this point, but Day of Reckoning has some of the most obscene difficulty spikes, and up until now, this is where it becomes completely fucking ridiculous. No matter what I do, it seems that Benoit will reverse every input you make, and I'm not even on the hard mode. I tried, and fucking tried.
What the fuck? Who at Ukes thought it'd be a great idea to just make it incredibly difficult? Like, were Ukes just trying to be fucking assholes? Well, they were. I
put the game down and came back the next day. After a couple more attempts, I finally beat this Curse Royal Rumble, and I could not have been happier. The fact remains, though, that these obscene difficulty spikes are annoying and rage-inducing, and I would love to sit here and tell you the ending, but I don't know the fucking ending because, once again, I get stuck. The second to last match is a mixed tag match with Undertaker. Now, I would expect the Undertaker to be difficult as hell. I mean, I've beaten Defeat the Streak mode in 2K14. But holy shit, this is fucking ridiculous! Despite me even dropping the difficulty down to easy, it's still too damn hard. To the point where I don't even want to finish the story mode. So I'm not! Good day, sir! Rant over. While Day of Reckoning is very fun, does a lot of great things, its frankly disgusting difficulty in the story mode keeps it from being a 10 out of 10. And that is why the first Day of Reckoning gets a 9 out of 10. Okay, anger rant over. We have made it to the end with 2005's Day of Reckoning 2, and wow, the first thing I noticed was, holy shit, this game looks good. Yes, I'm playing on upscaled graphics, but even the native GameCube graphics on this game looks really beautiful. Very impressive on Ukes' part. The core gameplay remains the same now with two big factors. One, the stamina system. That's right, you can't just go bonkers anymore. You have to actually manage your stamina, and if you don't, you will get tired. While this idea is cool, it soon became very annoying that I'll talk about later, and you can't turn it off to my knowledge. We also have an overhaul to the submission system. You can just go for a submission, or you can drain your opponent's stamina. You can do a rest hold. There's so many intricacies to the submissions now that I actually really appreciate it. We also got the new SVR camera introduced, but you can actually switch this back to the stage camera or a middle option, which is really cool. We also have some new legends like Stone Cold, and it is a well appreciated improvement on the already great improvement that was Day of Reckoning. But again, the main meat and potatoes of this game is the story mode. It's actually a direct continuation from the first game if you pick the Raw option, so I guess SmackDown was the non-canon path. The first thing I noticed is we still don't have any voice acting. The first Day of Reckoning didn't either, and I didn't mention it because I was expecting 2 to have voice acting, but it doesn't, but that's fine. The main story itself starts with you entering a tournament for the World Heavyweight title, and it's revealed that Triple H actually won the belt back off of you off screen. For those who picked the Raw side back in the day, would this count as getting God of War 2'd? You know, that old gaming trope where you start off with all the shit you had in the first game and they take it away? Back to the story though, it actually starts off very close to WrestleMania, where you're going to take on Triple H for the title once again. You have a tag match against him and Flair, and oh my god, Triple H kicks out of everything. Holy shit. Like, I know this is Reign of Terror Triple H, but this is like Young Bucks level annoying kickouts. Anyway, we get to WrestleMania, and there's no match. Because somebody stole the title. Yeah, because of course you want to get the belt as soon as you start the game, as the game starts. And the story pretty much becomes a whodunit. Who stole the title? with some other subplots being thrown in there, like Edge trying to steal Stacy Keibler from you, because of course he is. And I'd also like to put over how this game will let you make choices. In the first game, the only real choice you got to make was going to Raw or SmackDown, but here you can actually decide what to do. You decide to jump Edge or go after the IC title because the world title is still missing, for example. And you get screwed out of that because, well, Edge pushes you off a ladder. And up to this point, I was thoroughly enjoying the story mode. But guess what? Guess fucking what? I get stuck again! I get put into a fatal 4-way steel cage for the IC title. And I didn't get stuck because the AI counters everything. No, I get stuck because the AI actively cheats. Yeah, they cheat. No matter what you do or how many finishers I hit, the moment I climb the cage, they just pop right back up and knock me down. And by the time you knock them all down, your stamina is mostly gone, and it goes down so fast. And unlike the Rumble and Taker mixed tag match for the first game, I was actually able to find old forum posts bitching about this exact same problem. And the simplest way to fix this is to A, let the player win by pinfall, or B, not make it a requirement to win every match. The season mode in the SVR games had that basic concept down, and this is the same fucking developer. These story modes are fucked!
And you know, the fucked thing about it is, I actually enjoy these games, I really do, but their story modes are flat out fucking annoying, either because of difficult AI or busted ass AI.
The year's 2011. We were 2 years away from the launch of Grand Theft Auto 5. Jersey Shore was arguably the hottest show on MTV next to Fantasy Factory, and Little Me loved it. And the WWE wasn't exactly in the hottest spot. It was the same year that had arguably the worst WrestleMania with 27, with only really one good match and Rock making himself the focal point. Didn't really go well. Still doesn't go well. But also, CM Punk would get one of the biggest moments of his career that led to one of his best runs. But that's not why you're here. You're here to see me review that year's WWE game, WWE 12. Considering this was the game that had to follow the banger that was SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, how did it do, and how does it hold up in the year 2025? Now, to really take you back to this time period, let's talk about the official tagline that was used for this game. Bigger, badder, better. I wonder which one it is. Take a fucking guess. The game's marketing was all about the brand new features in the overhaul, like the brand new camera cuts. The camera cuts in WWE12 are made to mimic the real-life camera cuts used on TV. And I quite enjoy this feature. We're used to it nowadays, but back in 2011, this was relatively new and groundbreaking. It does immerse you in a way, and also it's just a great feature overall, but the gameplay itself was the biggest change. For the first time since 2006, we get a change in controls. Ukes and THQ finally ditched the joystick controls. WWE 12 brings back a more traditional grappling scheme with the X or A button doing most of the grappling, and this control scheme would last all the way until 2K20. Oh no! Gotta forget! While the joystick controls weren't bad necessarily, I 100% do believe that the buttons are always a better option. The gameplay also does feel a bit sped up and smoother, and matches can feel like a typical SmackDown vs. Raw series brawl, or you can actually have a pretty realistic matchup. Along with the new controls, we have brand new features in the gameplay. WWE 12 was the debut of staple features in today's games. This game debuted the wake up taunt, you know, where you taunt and perform a finisher. Well, that debuted here, and you know what they called it? They decided to call it Predator Technology. Yeah, that name didn't last long at all. The other debut mechanic was the comeback feature. Now, if you have played any WWE game since this game came out, you know exactly what the comeback feature is, and for those who don't, it's just a quick time event that gives you your signature. Now, to be completely fair, this was actually the best way to use the comeback feature, but we're not done, because we also have one more new feature. Well, it's not really new. It brings back a feature that has been missing up to this point since the PlayStation 1, I believe. Create an arena. And it's not all that great. For one, it's just customizing the ring. The stage is completely off limits for being customized, which is kind of terrible in my opinion, and kind of lies on the mode, but hey, it does get better as the series goes on. And on the topic of match types, the only real new one we have is the overhaul to Backstage Brawl. The Backstage area has multiple sections: the entrance area, the locker hall, and the garage. And you can also do the brawl in the actual ring, but why the fuck would you do that? Just play a normal match. backstage brawls, while fun, I do think they are a tad bit overused, and that's actually a perfect segue into the best part about this game, in my opinion, the road to WrestleMania. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is the best road to WrestleMania. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is the best road to WrestleMania? How can that be? SVR 2011 is legendary in its Mania mode, and it couldn't possibly be topped. Well, you're wrong. WWE 12's Road to WrestleMania begins with John Cena getting ready for a match, and you're thinking, wow, another John Cena story? Nope, you're the villain. The Sheamus story is probably one of the best storylines that Ukes have ever cooked up, because it's not just, okay, Sheamus is going to go on a monster heel run, win everything. Yes, but no. He forms an entire faction, no, a legion, and he takes everything. At the Bragging Rights pay-per-view, yeah, remember that fucking pay-per-view? Sheamus and Wade Barrett turn on their teams and form the United Kingdom with Drew and Regal, sort of like what the real WWE would do a couple years later with the League of Nations. And they end up winning every belt in the company. Sheamus beats Kofi Kingston on Raw for the IC title and brings back the European title. Sheamus wins the World Heavyweight Championship from Cena with the help of Arn Anderson. Sadly, no Glocks to the forehead. But like all factions of wrestling, it comes crashing down and burns inside. The group implodes. Sheamus kicks Wade Barrett out of the United Kingdom at Elimination Chamber, so Wade pulls a Shawn Michaels 2010 and costs Sheamus his title. And you have a giant Elimination Fatal 4-way at WrestleMania for every belt, and it's crazy. It goes from the ring to backstage to the garage, and finally ends when Sheamus puts Wade through a spotlight and wins every belt. And then the shovel comes out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next match is for the WWE Championship.
What is this? This is impossible. Time to play the game.
Triple H, the game has returned.
See, before this, Triple H won the Royal Rumble and Sheamus attacked him for no reason. So, to get his revenge, Triple H shows up and just wins the WWE title in like 3 seconds. He cuts one of his famous 20-minute promos and then gets interrupted by The Miz. Now, the entire plot of the Outsider story is called Triple H gets injured for an entire year and is trying to get his 17th world title. That's it. It's literally just Triple H feuding with The Miz and his henchmen. But there are some good swerves here, like R-Truth turning heel and almost dying. At SummerSlam, Triple H buries 7 other people and wins the belt next. Now, in my opinion, the best story of this is the hero story. You create your own character for this, and fun fact, your character who they call Jacob Cass is actually voiced by the greatest man alive, Austin Aries. Jacob is the winner of NXT. No, not the NXT we know today, the game show version on Sci-Fi. It starts out with the usual rookie is making a name for himself until at Survivor Series, a new GM is revealed to be Kevin Nash. And he's like, 10 years since WCW went under, let's do a tribute show on some ECW shit. And it's fine, but you slowly learn that this isn't just a rookie story. No, it's a full-scale WCW invasion. Now, sadly, they couldn't get a lot of people that were synonymous with WCW, like Flair, Hogan, and Sting, and people like that, because of them being in TNA at the time or just not being very friendly with the WWE. But with who they did get, they did a pretty good job. Animal, Arn Anderson, light-skinned Booker T, Vader, and it just becomes WWE versus WCW 10 years later. And just like the 2001 storyline, there's people who jump ship. Cody Rhodes jumped ship, which that makes sense, but guess who else? Guess who else? The fucking Big Show. I'm telling you, this man has more face and heel turns than I have subscribers. Even Ray, who was your character's pro from NXT, turns heel. Triple H returns and you and Nash have a tag match at Mania, and you lose. Yeah, no happy ending. Vamos, son of a bitch! Nash brings back Monday Nitro, but Triple H comes out and has an offer. 6v6 Hell in a Cell, which I guess is a cheap way to do War Games. So, at Starrcade, it happens. The Not War Games match happens and everybody gets clapped. Sheamus, clapped. Undertaker, clapped. Vince, clapped. And you almost get clapped, but you say YOLO and just put Nash through the ring. And that's the end of Road to WrestleMania. Now, as you can tell, that this was not a traditional Road to WrestleMania because you can't just select the 3 paths at random. You have to play the Sheamus one first and unlock them, which I can see why some people wouldn't like that, but I don't mind that at all. This mode is great, but I do have one complaint like I said earlier. Road to WrestleMania 27 uses backstage brawls way too fucking much. Like, there are a lot here and it does get annoying, but apart from that, this mode's pretty damn good. Universe mode returns and it's arguably its best version because of how random it is. After your first match, Brock Lesnar returns and attacks you. And this was special because back then, he was still under a UFC contract technically. I assume because Ukes and THQ also made the UFC games at the time, they could get away with this. Now, this is also cool because this was an unlockable. This wasn't DLC. This game did have a lot of great DLC that sadly can no longer be bought unless you bought it back in the day, which I didn't, so I can't access it. But the fact that Brock was hidden as an unlock, well, I guess not hidden because he was shown off in the trailers, but the fact that he was an unlockable here and all you have to do is play one match in Universe mode, really good. But this game is just great, and oddly, I used to hate this game, and I don't know why either because this game is just straight fire. The final verdict I'm giving WWE 12 is an 8 out of 10. It's a damn good wrestling game, and if you get it, please play the Road to WrestleMania mode. But next time, we are going back to the 90s with WWE 13's Attitude Mode. For it being the first ever showcase-like mode, it's pretty fucking good. Make sure you turn on those notifications for when that comes out, and I will see you guys in the next review.
Hello, I'm the Doxology Critic, and I review it so you don't have to. Wait a minute, that's not my intro. Anyway, welcome back. Last time we took a look at WWE 12, the game that would revolutionize and overhaul the mainline series as we knew it. So now it's time for another yearly sequel. Let's take a look at WWE 13 featuring CM Punk on the cover. Let's pop this bitch in and see how it holds up.
Well, the first thing I can mention is that the gameplay itself is the exact same as WWE 12, which isn't a bad thing in any regard. As you saw in my previous video, I felt that this change in controls was very well carried out, and there's not really much new to talk about with the gameplay. It plays, feels, and even looks like WWE 12, which is the yearly WWE game, so go figure. But luckily, this is Ukes and not 2K, so we actually get new and improved shit every year. And with that being said, let's not waste any time and go straight to the one thing this game is known for. For it being the first unofficial showcase mode, WWE 13's Attitude Mode is fucking fantastic. It starts off in 1997 and goes through pretty much every notable moment of that era. Attitude Mode consists of 7 chapters. Our first chapter in this glorious tale of Attitude is the Rise of DX. Now obviously this chapter largely focuses on Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and The Undertaker. Now the main important part about this mode is the fact that a lot of the normalities of a showcase mode debuted here. The historical objectives are goals that you must hit or that happen in the real match. Sometimes it can be just a move, or others, you get rewarded with these beautifully recreated cutscenes. And also, sometimes even recreated promos. Like, it's cool that they actually took the time to recreate the entire Three Faces of Foley cutscene. And not only that, for some promos, they actually use the real audio.
My main mandible up high, down low. Ow, you're too slow. Hi, dude. You really are eye candy for the chicks. That much I know, Daddy, but you gotta tell me about this wacky match. Falls count anywhere. Dude, as much as I've dreamed about destroying Hunter Hearst Helmsley, haha, I know you have.
They also got JR and the King to come back and re-record a lot of the lines for the in-game commentary. And it's great, but sometimes it's just not perfect. But with the power of editing, let's fix some of these mistakes.
Cell match is now officially, oh my lord, he's trying to throw him off the top of the cell. One more time for everyone at home. Good God Almighty! Good God Almighty! He killed him! As God is my witness, mankind is broken in half. Good God Almighty! Good God Almighty! They killed him! Oh my God.
Do you see how much better that is? Now, another mechanic for the Attitude Mode is what they call Attitude Moments, which are literally just QuickTime events. And you better not fuck these up, because if you do, you gotta restart the entire match. And sometimes these QuickTime events can lead to some shenanigans. And he fucking no-sells it? You all saw that, right? Now, the next chapter is Austin 3:16, which is self-explanatory. Now, I think it's funny that 3 years after this game launched, 2K16 would come out, and in my opinion, the Austin Showcase in that game is a sort of sequel and a better version of the Attitude Mode. But back to WWE 13, obviously this chapter of the game focuses on the Austin McMahon rivalry and how this is the time where the WWF finally beat WCW. One complaint I do have is that this game will sometimes take random shots at WCW, which is just like, why? Next, we have the Brothers of Destruction chapter, which obviously focuses more on the Undertaker and Kane rivalry of 1998. Which, this chapter's okay. Next, we have the Great One chapter, which, of course, Dwayne has to get his own fucking chapter. Jokes aside, this covers the corporate champion era of The Rock. Now, most of this chapter is spent during the 1998 Deadly Games tournament and covers his feud with Mankind. And speaking of that, we have the Mankind chapter. This covers the story of Mankind winning the WWF title and how he loses at the 1998 Royal Rumble. And I will say, I was disappointed to see that they didn't really accurately recreate the whole I quit part of that, which kind of sucks, but whatever. And then we have the official last chapter called WrestleMania 15, which is the lead up to that Mania. It ends with the first Austin and Rock match at Mania, and that's where it officially ends, but there's one more bonus chapter to unlock more wrestlers. Guys like The Godfather, JBL, Farouk, Edge and Christian, and even debut Y2J. This is called the Off-Script chapter, and again, this is just a bonus chapter to unlock bonus content, which is really cool to see, especially in 2012, when DLC was really starting to pick up, which we'll get to in a second. Now, there are also just bonus matches. Now, these are not required, just bonus unlocks, kind of like what 2K16 would do with its bonus challenges. These are matches like Kane and Undertaker at WrestleMania 14, or Shane and X-Pac at 15 for some reason. Now, I feel like, personally, this mode could have gone past 15. Hell, why not include the match at 17 as a bonus? But without that, this mode is sick as it is. It gave us a bunch of legends for the roster, but it isn't great. There's a lot of key players missing. Guys like Steve Blackman, Kai and Tai, the Dudleys, the Hardys, which I ended up making the Creation Suite. Now, yes, both teams were in TNA at the time, and in fact, Jeff, according to him, his prime year was 2012 and 13. But a majority of this game's DLC did add a lot of Attitude Era content like Too Cool, Rikishi, Val Venus. Yeah, Val fucking Venus. But the base roster is okay, don't get me wrong. We have the big names like Cena, CM Punk who's on the cover, but we also have guys like David Otunga and Justin Gabriel. But we did get the new and returned Brock Lesnar, but clearly this game was not marketed or for the 2012 WWE audience. Even Create an Arena, which finally allows you to customize the stage, has a lot of late 90s and early 2000s stage designs. You can make the SmackDown Fist stage and they just give you all the logos. Hell, I even made this custom NWO sold out arena. Now, today we have community creations where you can get whatever arena you want, and it's a big help, but I do kind of appreciate when they actually just give you the shit to make the content yourself.
This game is just really damn good. As you guys know, I'm a sucker for late 90s and 2000s WWE. And this showcase really got me to learn more about the Attitude Era with me not being there to watch it. But let me know what you guys think about this game. Tell me some personal stories in the comments. And stay tuned because next time we're going to take a look at arguably the best WWE game and the last game made for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation, 2K14. I'll see you then.
WWE 12 reinvented the wheel, WWE 13 took us back in time, and now WWE 2K14 was about to give us one final main event on the 7th generation of consoles. In early 2013, publisher THQ, who was responsible for publishing every major WWF/E game since 1999, went under, all of their major licenses went to other companies, and for better and later worse, the WWE games went to 2K. But since this game was already in active development, we still got one last THQ and Yuke's game. Also, this year saw the release of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and all the major sports games jumped on next gen, but WWE stayed back, and honestly, thank God for that.
With all this being said, let's take a look at one of the most beloved WWE games and see how it holds up in the year 2025.
Just like last time, this game still does feel like WWE 12, but faster and more arcadey. I feel it's one of those things that I really can't explain, but I can certainly tell you this game has been sped up and slightly tweaked in a very good way. Matches in this game can feel like a realistic TV match, or if you fuck around with the pacing options, you can just have a chaotic brawl like the SmackDown games on the PlayStation 2. This game also has a stupid amount of match types. Tables? Check. Hell in a Cell? Check. I Quit? Yep. Figure Fantasy? Nope. Well, shit. Even matches like the Inferno match technically make their last appearances here. Nope. Y'all don't count. You're all ports. 2K14 also has one of the deepest creation suites ever, and I'm about to drop a hot take here, but in a way, I feel this suite is better than the current ones. Now, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of useful shit now. Image uploaders and community creations, which, while CC wasn't around in 2013, it wasn't nearly as close to what it is now to my knowledge. But check this out, I made this dope Jeff Hardy call, just with sliders and a call formula. No custom images, no face textures, just in-game slides. And you can make a lot of dope calls depending on if you follow the formula correctly, and they look sick as hell in-game. This was also the first year that allowed you to customize the actual superstars outside of superstar threads. They even made a DLC for this that sadly cannot be obtained anymore, and that's something that I'll bitch about later in the video. But back to the Jeff Hardy call, how are you going to make the arm sleeves? Well, my friends, this is where the paint tool comes in. Just make them there and bam. Ignore the wrong skin tone, I fucked up the color key. But just by messing around with the sliders, you can pretty much make anybody, honestly. And on the other side of creation, we have the last time we'd ever get create a story mode. Now, as I said in my SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 review, I never really used to play this mode. It wasn't until about 2016 or so that I discovered some of the create a story videos on YouTube. I think the main person who uploaded them was a guy by the name of Teaming Tubby Emu. But yeah, create a story is a mode that is deeply missed by the community, and I can see why. I never really messed with the mode. I did fuck around a little bit for this video, but was never really my thing. But if you guys have some funny creative story memories, put them down in the comments. I want to hear them. But this creation suite is legendary. All the work that SVR 2010 did to overhaul the call suite paid off here, and even to this day, there are people that are making incredible calls of current superstars. Create Arena also returns, and they kind of fucked it up, not in like an objective way. For some reason, you can't stretch a logo all the way on the apron, and to me, that's pretty annoying, but I'm sure that doesn't really matter to some people. There's also a Creative Championship, and, well, it's alright, I guess. There's a lot of limited images to use, in my opinion, but it does get better as the games go on. Now, let's cut all of this filler shit and talk about the two biggest and most memorable parts of this game. In WWE 13, THQ and Yuke's introduced the Attitude Mode, a showcase that told the story of the second biggest boom period in professional wrestling. So what does 2K14 do to top it? Well, how about 30 damn years of WrestleMania? The 30 years of WrestleMania mode is one of the most ambitious and best modes in any wrestling game. It's a fully detailed showcase mode that replays some of the best matches of over 30 WrestleManias. And get this, they actually had over 40 matches in this mode. 2K, you dumb fucks, had one job. But they actually managed to fit over 40 matches from technically 29 WrestleManias because 30 hadn't happened yet, but there is a custom 30 arena in the game. But the dedication in this mode, it should be applauded. Just like 13's Attitude Mode, 30 Years has its own chapter, starting off with the Hulkamania chapter, which obviously follows guys like Hulk Hogan, Andre, Savage, etc. This is the chapter that's going to have your Hogan vs. Andres, moments like Macho Man winning the title at Mania 4. Speaking of Macho Man, this chapter features their match at WrestleMania 5, and they actually recreated the entire promo in-game. That is fucking amazing.
You're right. You don't know
thing about the Macho Man Randy Savage and where I'm coming from. Because it's mind-boggling to you, yeah. How one man could make it to the top all by myself. No pukesters helping me to the left, and no pukesters helping me to the right. Didn't need them then, don't need them now.
But just like WWE 13's Attitude Mode, there are certain objectives that need to be hit sometimes, and sometimes just as simple as hitting your finish and win. Other times the CPU will literally rewrite history.
What a shot to the hitman. Oh man, there might be no getting up from that. And he hits a big time leg drop. Here's the cover. Here's one.
Once again, the in-game cutscenes return, and I'd argue the cutscenes are better here than 13. There's a lot of small details in these cutscenes that I feel the devs need to be applauded for. I mentioned the Macho Man promo being remade, okay? How about the WrestleMania 10 promo with Razor and Shawn?
A historical event, WrestleMania 10, Madison Square Garden, Sunday afternoon, March 20th, with an unprecedented match. And who better to give it to you? Shawn Michaels, a ladder match. 2 belts hanging at the top of Madison Square Garden, along with all those people hanging from the rafters. The Heartbreak Kid is going to be up there taking what is rightfully his, the IC belt.
Yo, boy toy, you say you're the real champ? I say I am. Too much confusion. WrestleMania 10, Chico? Somebody gonna decide. If it takes a ladder, man, no problem. There's no rules, no ref, no time limit. Somebody, Chico, leaves WrestleMania the real champ.
How about Savage and Steamboat actually using the carts at WrestleMania 3? Or jumping forward some years when Edge spears Mick Foley through the table, you can see him visibly shaking. Or my personal favorite, when Shawn Michaels superkicks Ric Flair, he's actually crying. The detail in these cutscenes is fucking immaculate, and it's always nice to see the devs go that extra mile to make shit more accurate. I have some complaints. 30 Years WrestleMania loves its QuickTime events, and sometimes it'll just be, a ref bump, and others will be the actual ending to a match, which is really cool to see, but this game does them way too damn much. QuickTime Event Mania is running wild, brother, and you better not fuck them up. My second complaint is the hidden objectives. Now, these aren't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes they just flat out don't spawn or work. The chair, you're right there at the apron. Fuck, hold on. Alright, dude, fuck this. We're just gonna move on. I'll unlock this shit later. This mode, while being kind of long, is a very enjoyable playthrough, and I never found it to be boring or repetitive apart from the QuickTime events. The match selection is also great, but I feel like some matches had to have made it in. Like, why is there not a single Eddie Guerrero match in this showcase? You mean to tell me you couldn't just do Ray vs. Eddie at 21? And he's in the game, by the way. It's not like he's not here. When you really sit down and think about it, though, this is just a better version of Legends of WrestleMania, which I kind of want to review, but you gotta let me know if y'all want to see that. But yeah, still to this day, 30 Years of WrestleMania is a banger showcase. Can't say the same for 40 years. Now, as a man who considers himself a connoisseur of wrestling attires, I really appreciate how Yuke's corrected the mistake they made in WWE 13 by actually just making new models and attires for the characters. I'd also like to applaud the fact that since 2010, Yuke's have been on a great gaming streak. Wait a minute. Did I say streak? Yeah, so there's a second mode hidden in 30 Years of WrestleMania. The Undertaker's Defeat the Streak mode, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And it's a separate thing for a good reason, because the Undertaker is cracked here. He's twice as strong as base Undertaker, and he has all sorts of special animations and shit. You go to pick him up off the ground, Hell's Gate. You think big shit's popping? Nope, lights go out, Tombstone. This is the WWE Games version of Mortal Kombat 2 Shao Kahn, or any other bullshit fighting game boss. Now, there's two ways to beat Taker here. There's the traditional 5-star match way to do it, or there's the bullshit way. I did the bullshit way first on stream. The bullshit way is purposely staying on the outside where he can't pin or submit you and just spamming weapons since it is no DQ. And while I am calling it the bullshit way as a joke, it is kind of cheesy. Now, the legit way is actually taking him head on and just actually taking, you know, the fight. It's way harder. When I did it the bullshit way, I beat Taker second try. But when I recorded the legit way, it took me over an hour. I got very close with a lot of people. The closest I got was with my Kurt Angle call, but even that failed. Finally, I beat Undertaker with Brock Lesnar. No, the irony's not lost on me. Now, there's some cool secret features, like if you select a former Undertaker opponent, let's say Randy Orton, the game will auto-select that specific WrestleMania, so in my case, it would be 21. There's also a second mode called Defend the Streak that isn't nearly as memorable in my opinion. It's just a slaughter knocker mode from the SmackDown Just Bring It game. Not terrible, but I think Defeat the Streak mode is 100 times more iconic. Now, like I mentioned before, I kind of hate how DLC is gone for the game, and now I understand why they do delist this shit, but this game specifically had a lot of dope-ass DLC. The Ultimate Warrior, who was the pre-order bonus, is only playable in 30 years if you didn't get him back in 2013. Even a fuck ton of the NWO is here. Hall and Nash, Kurt Hennig, The Giant, the fucking Giant of all people. Now, I'm pretty sure you can get the DLC easy through emulation, which I might look into, but still, if the DLC ever became available somehow, I would 100% get it. But to conclude, 2K14 is one of the best wrestling games ever made. It's got one of the most complete rosters ever and has some of the deepest content in any game. In a way, to some people, this is the ideal wrestling game. Arcade mixed with simulation. It's the perfect mix. But somehow, 2K managed to fuck it up. Next time, we'll be jumping to the Xbox One to take a look at 2K's botched debut on 8th generation consoles with WWE 2K15. Now, if you're interested in checking out some of my other content, I have videos on this side of the screen. I've already reviewed 12 and 13, so go check those out if you haven't. And also, I've reviewed SmackDown vs. Raw, every game in one video, actually. And I don't really plug it, but I guess go follow me on Twitter, I guess. If you don't, oh well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next review. In 2013, publisher THQ would file for bankruptcy. All of their main IPs would go to other publishers like South Park going to Ubisoft, but important to this video is the WWE license. That will go to 2K Sports. During this time, since that year's WWE game 2K14 had already been in active development, it would still be the last classic THQ and Ukes formula, with the 2K branding anyway. Now, in 2014, WWE would make the jump to 8th generation of consoles with the PS4 and Xbox One, and they would show off images and videos. Holy shit, man, 2K15 looks good! Wow, I cannot wait to look at the new animations, I cannot wait to play.
They fucked it up. Yeah, they fucked it up big time. So, let's take a look at how 2K15 shockmastered its way onto the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
The two most glaring changes made to this game is obviously its new graphics and the gameplay. Starting with the graphics, for the time, they were actually pretty damn decent. The WWE games, despite being a year late to the 8th gen, I think did help in this department. I will say, however, some of the people in this game look very funky. Why does John Cena look pissed off 24/7? Did they scan his face after he had a bad day or something? Or Shawn Michaels? Who is this? That is not HB Shizzle. It's almost like they didn't actually scan his face and just use a reference images to sculpt it. Apart from those small blunders, everybody else on the roster looks really fucking good in my opinion. Speaking of the roster, it's actually really stacked here, and because I actually have access to the DLC this time, I also have the full DLC minus the WCW pack and the Hogan stuff because that was nuked off every storefront. Seriously, even if you owned it, they removed it. But the roster has pretty much everything for everyone. You have the current 2014 WWE roster, older versions of guys like Jericho and Randy Orton, and they actually gave us a lot of Ruthless Aggression era content and even some content from the early 2010s. This was also the first WWE game to really put any stock into the NXT roster. I guess you could count the Nexus DLC from SBR 2011, but up to this point, the only NXT representation had been just the arena or a small mention in the story mode. By 2014, NXT had ditched the game show motif and pretty much became what FCW was, but this game made an effort to have a small but decently sized NXT roster. Adrian Neville, a playable Corey Graves, Sami Zayn. This game also had a dedicated NXT DLC that added the Ascension, and fun fact, this DLC was actually supposed to include the Certified G, Enzo Amore, how you doing? Also, not to mention, this game was marked as the first official WWE game appearance of the Stinger. Sting was the pre-order bonus for this game, and you actually get two versions, both 1991 Sting and the 99 Crow Sting. Despite the hate 2K15 got, and still does get deservedly so, you can't deny that the 2K15 roster was actually pretty stacked. Now, on to the most divisive part about this game, in my opinion, the gameplay. I'm pretty sure everyone just expected the Control-C, Control-V 2K14's gameplay in the 2K15, and I'm sure even I did too back then. No one would complain about that, but the game is just slow. The game is slow and clunky, like Tekken 3 slow, just not as good as Tekken 3. Now, it can't be bearable, it isn't bad enough, at least not for me, but this was, in my opinion, the official part of where 2K was trying to make the WWE games a complete sim. The bright side, we still do have the arcade weapon physics, which is good, but keeping with the realistic theme, this game does add some things that I actually think are cool small details. 2K15 saw the debut of tired finishers, tired pins, and charge finishers. This also saw the debut of the percentage thing instead of the momentum meter. Animations for the moves are solid too. I'm not sure if this was a glitch or actually intended, but this game has some jank-ass ragdoll physics, which I am all here for, honestly. I kind of wish these would return someday. 2K15 also saw the official debut of the chain wrestling mechanic. At the beginning of the match, when you start a grapple, you and the AI select one of the face buttons and use the right stick to find the sweet spot and fill up the circle. And we also saw the debut of tired pinfalls. You see what I mean? This is when they really started to become more pick up and play and more simulation, which, even I'm gonna be honest, just being able to pick up and play is the smarter option for me 9 times out of 10. Like, when my dad wants to play a wrestling game and I have to sit there and explain it to him how everything works, I'd rather just play No Mercy and he'll learn how to do it in 10 seconds, you know? But it is now time, shout out Howard Finkel, to talk about, in my opinion, the best part about this game, the showcase mode. On launch, this game came with 2 full showcase modes, starting off with the Hustle, Loyalty, and Disrespect, which focuses on the John Cena and CM Punk feud of 2011 to 2013. And CM Punk being in this game at the time was very surprising because he had been gone for months by this point. I'm honestly surprised WWE didn't try and get him removed. If they did, I guess Ukes just told him to fuck off, which, good on Ukes. Now, I am, unhappy to report that the QuickTime events do return, but they actually look really damn good in the new engine and graphics. This was right around the time where almost every game had QuickTime events. Like, I remember Mortal Kombat X the next year had QuickTime events, and it was like, why in Mortal Kombat? But replaying the Cena and Punk showcase was really fun, just as it was back in 2014. It spans all the way from Money in the Bank 2011 and ends on Raw in 2013, and I like how the majority of it is Punk and Cena, but we also see some appearances of Rey Mysterio, real-life asshole Alberto Del Rio, Kevin Nash, and Sally the Rock. Once again, you complete various objectives and get rewarded with these great cutscenes, and it's a simple premise, but I really just want to talk about the small attention to detail in the HLG showcase, like the fact that John Cena will actually talk during his entrance.
Where I started. I used to walk the concourse to this place.
In-game question is, which one of these champions will be defending the WWE title the next time we come to you on pay-per-view in 5 weeks for Night of Champions?
Well, whether you like John Cena or not, everybody respects him.
This was the first time that this was in a WWE game to my knowledge, and it blew me away back in 2014. I was like, what? They can talk now? Stupid now, but back then this was pretty cool and groundbreaking, at least for me. I also appreciate how in certain matches they use the actual audio from the broadcast.
I hit him in the clutch, he tapped out. Do the right thing, please.
There is a right thing after the bell. I know you two got something going on.
Listen to them, listen to them. Let them decide. Let them decide. You want to have a tweet about it? Let them decide, listen to them.
Restart the match.
What?
But for the first time ever, we have more than one showcase mode. The second showcase, at least on disc, is the Best Friends Bitter Enemies, which follows the rivalry between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. In a way, this is kind of the showcase that really ignited my love for the Ruthless Aggression era. I was born in 07, and by the time that I really got into wrestling, WWE was a good 2 years into their PG era. Now, thankfully, because of my uncle, I had a lot of hand-me-down DVDs from that era, but this showcase really ignited my love for that particular era of wrestling. And I think that 2K Nuke did a great job showcasing all the important moments, like Shawn's return at SummerSlam 02, even having the first chamber match, which is insane. They actually got everybody to do that. If you notice, they have been able to really select the most notable matches without having to cover every single one. Also, I'm happy this showcase exists because we got Evolution versions of Randy Orton and Batista. Now, at launch, or if you just bought this game used today, there would only be 2 showcase modes, but thanks to my good friend Tony, who actually bought the DLC back in 2014, I'm able to use them due to GameShare, and I gotta say, the DLC showcases are pretty solid. The first DLC showcase we're going to talk about is the One More Match showcase, which follows the 2011 feud with Christian and Randy Orton. And now that it's 2025, I'm happy this was chosen, because for me anyway, 2011 WWE is kind of a blur for me. Like, I remember the punk stuff, but I think I was honestly watching a lot of more TNA in late 2010, early 2011. And I honestly could not tell you why, there's no particular reason. I do have one question, however. Why does the majority of the showcases focus on recent events, at least at that time? This isn't a complaint, just a thought that I had. The second DLC showcase was the Hall of Pain, which focuses on the career of Mark Henry, and I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty fun to play. Only knowing this run through retrospectives and such was pretty cool to relive this through a video game, and it's relatively short. I beat it in about an hour and 30-ish minutes. And the final DLC showcase is the Path of the Warrior, and I gotta say, this might be my favorite out of the DLC. I had always watched this showcase on YouTube, but never was actually able to play through it until now. Recently, I've actually been going back and watching a lot of late 80s, early 90s wrestling, and this showcase makes me enjoy it more. It covers pretty much every major Warrior match, even doing the Hogan and Warrior match at Mania 6, making it appear in back-to-back games, and I gotta say, it's honestly a lot better here. Wow, I just said 2K15 did something better than 2K14. Yeah, this video's getting disliked as shit. Anyway, we also have Savage vs. Warrior, and let me tell you about this fucking match, okay? I haven't really mentioned it yet, but I hate this game's pinfall system with a passion. I fucking hate it. I feel like the meter's just way too fast for you to properly react in time, and it led to me having to redo this match a good 4 times. Finally, I just got fed up and dropped the shit to easy. Yeah, I can cheat too, you rotten bastards. Showcase to me is by far the best part of the entire game, but there's one more mode in 2K15. For the first time since 2008, we have a fleshed out and proper career mode, but first we need to make our own superstar. In 2K14, I talked about how good and fleshed out the Call Suite is, so I gotta ask, what the fuck happened here? It's garbage, man, but the My Career mode itself, it's okay. You kind of just wrestle. I don't really have that much to say about it. Wasn't the biggest fan of it in 2014, and that really hasn't had changed. I guess you could say it sucked back then, and it sucks forever. But that was 2K15, a mediocre debut on 8th generation that does some things well, but really fucked up a lot of things. Hopefully, when I cover 2K16, it's been a while since I've played 2K16, hopefully, in retrospect, it did a lot of things better and is a much better sequel. That being said, do all the YouTuber stuff. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subs before the year ends, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. I'm out. By the early 2000s, backyard wrestling had become a phenomenon in America. It was everywhere, to the point where there were whole-ass DVDs being sold. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments on this video saying something along the lines of, backyard wrestling is stupid, they're untrained, and while that's true, it doesn't change the fact that I enjoy it. By the time I discovered YouTube in late 2014, the 2 biggest backyard wrestling channels were Philadelphia-based CHW, which no longer exists sadly, and arguably the biggest backyard promotion, GTS Wrestling. GTS was and still is the shit. Their 2015 to 18 run was elite. Anyway, back in 2003, Paradox Entertainment teamed up with Eidos and BYW to make a game completely about backyard wrestling, and the ICP was a big part of the marketing. In the game's promotional video, they go out of their way to make fun of Vince and the current WWE game, which at the time would have been Shut Your Mouth.
They know that JCW is the #2 wrestling organization because we don't have the billions like you do, Vince McMahon.
Oh, hold on. That's Vince right there. Benny. Yeah, I'll have my people get back to you. Okay, f*** off.
Hold it.
They didn't do something like some WWE bullshit.
On October 7, 2003, Backyard Wrestling Do Not Try This at Home was released for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox consoles. And this game is not good. Now, before you get all upset and comment, let me be clear. I think this game was fun. I have fun with it. It's hilarious. It's still an objectively bad video game. Gameplay is important for any game, and here it's not great. I do like the multitude of weapons lying on the level, like from light tubes and tables and heat-seeking basketballs, okay? The game is full speed from here. Literally, there is no walking in this game. It's full-on sprinting. The controls react similar to the SmackDown series with circle grappling, X doing the moves. Square does all of your combos, including strikes. The game has a separate stun meter for strikes and grapples, which doesn't make more sense to me. It would have been far more convenient just to have one stun meter. Down in the bottom right corner is the name of the moves you perform, and they have their own BYW name similar to the Def Jam games, how they would change the names of established wrestling moves, which I think is a plus. There's also the health bars that will go from green to yellow, and when your health bar turns red, you better hit that finisher. Like most wrestling games, Backyard Wrestling 1 features a season mode called Talk Show Mode. Why is it called this? No clue, but the pre-match cutscenes are hilarious. Now, before we can enter Talk Show Mode, we need to create a wrestler, and hot damn is it terrible. It's just presets with slightly altered colors, so here is our call, if you could call it that. I'm not a juggalo in real life, but in the game, I sure as hell am. Talk Show Mode is just a gauntlet through all of the levels with all the characters, with one slight catch that I think is stupid. If you lose, even once, it boosts you back to the main menu and you have to restart. That is terrible, and I hate it. To circumvent this, I just end up save scumming and load the previous state anytime this happened. The game near the end does get pretty hard, with the final boss, Madman Pondo, being ridiculous to the point where, after a couple tries, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I have Let's Played this game in the past if you want to go watch that. I'll put the Let's Play on the end of the screen, at the end of the video, so you can watch that in full if you want to. It's pretty good, pretty funny. It's got some funny rages, so I think you'll like it. You would think, okay, I'll just turn the difficulty to easy, no problem. What's easy in this game? There's only 3 difficulties, with hard being the default, which is weird to me. There's normal, hard, and porn star. What's the joke exactly? Because it's the hardest? I don't know. I'm all for juvenile humor, but what's the joke here? Can someone please explain this? Look, Backyard Wrestling Don't Try This at Home is not a good game. It sucks, but it's fun. It's a game that's not to be taken seriously, and I've had a decent enough time with it. Is it going to be remembered fondly? I don't know. Probably not. I would hope not. The final verdict for Backyard Wrestling 1 is a 5 out of 10. Now, let's see how the second game is. Well, good news is, I can say it's a better game than the first. Gameplay has been changed to where you're not running like a madman 24/7. Submissions were added, which, no, you can't win by submission, so it's pretty pointless. I mean, you can cause damage, but what's the point? The roster sees new additions with some actual wrestlers. Backyard Wrestling 2 has a lot of CZW alumni in Ruckus, John Zandig, Sanjay Dutt, and Nick Monda, who, fun fact, makes movies and shows now. ECW Whack Job New Jack makes an appearance, and actress Tara Patrick. Alright, let me stop before I get this video flagged. I can comfortably say that this game is at least fun in the gameplay department, which is great to report. The cost system is also greatly improved and not dog shit, with creative parts being bought in the game's career mode. And that's a perfect segue, so let's talk about the career mode. It is hot garbage, because it's a glorified tutorial. It's the same problem that I have with American Wasteland, but that game is way better than this, so don't worry, I'm not comparing American Wasteland to this game. Every match has an objective that you need to complete. Literally, you can complete the objective and quit the match, and you will not be punished for it. And that's all every stage is. Complete 5 tutorials and win a belt. Awesome. 10 out of 10 game design right there. Didn't think I would say the first game did something better than the sequel, but here we are. Backyard Wrestling 2 is still bad. It's not great, but it's better than the first game, and that's all that matters. I got this game off eBay years ago, and despite recording this footage on an emulator, I still own my physical copy, and I honestly do really enjoy this game despite its flaws. In fact, I have to credit this series because this is the series that got me into the Insane Clown Posse's music. And while I wouldn't call myself a juggalo, I still will listen to their music from time to time. With that being said though, the final verdict for Backyard Wrestling 2 is a solid, but not great, 6 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed this little short review. I'm still working on the DMC1 video. I have all the footage recorded. Just need to write the script. I'm trying to take my time with that. So, hold you guys over. You get a short review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next video. What is going on, everybody? Just quickly want to come on here and say before the review, this review will cover slight spoilers for the Showcase mode and the My Rise mode, so if you have not played those modes yet or you don't want to be spoiled, either skip those parts or don't watch this video. But yeah, just wanted to come and give a quick spoiler warning. Enjoy the review. JDs and gentlemen, it is March, so you know what that entails. It is time for another WWE 2K release. The highly anticipated WWE 2K25 is here for early access, and I can comfortably say it's pretty good. So far, I have put over 16 hours into the game. Now, currently I am in the process of reviewing every SmackDown vs. Raw title, but for a quick detour, let's take a look at 2K25. Now, if you guys saw my I'm worried about 2K25 video, you know that my biggest concern going into this game was the island mode. Turns out it was everything I feared it would be, so I got the PC version. So I will not be talking about the island mode in this review, so if you're looking for that, it's not here. Everything else, though, is good. Now, on to the review. I woke up at 5 AM before school to play this game. I launched it, and I was greeted by, honestly, one of the best looking menus in a while. The pictures that explain every match type gives me major 2K16 vibes in a good way. And the main menu, it's not confusing, it's very sleek looking and clean. I approve of this menu design. And the first match I selected was obvious. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in the Underground match. The Underground match is actually pretty fun, I won't even lie. It's like a MMA style match where you can only win by knockouts or submissions. And I think it's my new favorite match type in the game, honestly. 2K25 obviously has a bunch of new fancy features like the third-person camera that you can use for entrances and in gameplay. It looks out of place, but it oddly fits. I just never thought we would see a third-person camera in a WWE game again. Graphically, it looks the same, but not in a bad way. On my PC, the game does run very well, minus one small problem that we talk about later. The chain wrestling has been brought back, and the first time I tried it, I won't even lie, I got cooked. It's nothing like the way it was in 2K19, and this isn't me complaining saying, oh, it's not the way I remember it. I'm gonna get good at this chain wrestling. I'm going to get good at this chain wrestling. I like the new changes, I like the way it works now, but I was just fully expecting it to work like they did in 2K19, I won't even lie. The attention to detail in this game is insane. Like, as a match goes on, you can see the wrestlers' bodies get more and more bruised, just like SVR 2010. It's so cool to see that back, considering I just reviewed that game. And one thing I noticed too after I'd already recorded everything was when you go to select a character, it'll have the wins and loss records for each time you use them, which I think is a really neat inclusion. I know people that like obsess over wins and loss records, so for those people, I think they'll enjoy this. The ladder matches get a big overhaul. Instead of the previous minigame, it's not a set minigame, it's like a minigame in stages where you have to time the correct button press and a sort of rhythm. I like this because it keeps ladder matches fresh and longer. And this is a change that I honestly welcome. For the first time since 2008, we have the return of intergender wrestling. You can take any female roster member and face a male roster member, and the game will not stop you. You don't need mods or anything. You can change the script, you can do whatever. If I want to take Lola Vice versus CM Punk in an underground match, I can do it and nobody's going to stop me. We finally get some more backstage brawliners, the coolest thing being the WWE archives. There is so much shit in here that'll make a wrestling nerd bust. Like, there was so many Easter eggs that I was just pointing out to myself while playing and looking at the archive arena. The best part of the archive arena is that you can climb the SmackDown fist and jump off of it. Bro, this is some straight up SmackDown shut your mouth type shit. AKA fun. Like, this game is fun. There's also the NXT parking lot arena that features an area with a real sheet of glass. So now CM Punk can finally cry Jack Perry a river. I am glad that since 2K22 release, the devs have continued to add more content to each game that makes it more and more fun. It feels like they actually listen to the community. Well, sometimes. My faction still exists. The showcase mode returns, and after the disaster of 40 Years of Mania, I had little to no expectations for it. But I am happy to report that the showcase, in my opinion, is actually good. There's no more slingshot tech, no more southeast corner bullshit. It's a classic showcase. I'm happy that they brought back the in-engine cutscenes. I feel rewarded for actually completing all the objectives because I get to see these dope in-game versions of the actual match. The slingshot tech for me kind of just sucks because it's like, why would you show us the real match like when most people have the network? And plus, it made uploading the showcase playthrough damn near impossible. That's probably more of a personal thing for me. But I'm happy that the in-engine cutscenes are back. The objectives aren't dog shit. Some of them are kind of like the typical, okay, damage for this minute, then hit your signature. But like, apart from that, it's mostly like a classic showcase, kind of akin to the way 2K15 and 16 was. No quick time events though. Quick time events are not here, so that's a good thing too. I do have one complaint, but it's more of a me issue. I did notice that some of the cutscenes before matches would be choppy and slow. I asked a buddy of mine who's on console if this happens to him, and he said it wasn't happening, so I believe this is just a PC issue. I don't know, if you saw any choppy cutscenes on your showcase playthrough, let me know, but I think it might just be my PC. The showcase makes one of the best first impressions of any showcase in my opinion by starting off at WrestleMania 40, the most shenanigan-filled Mania in recent memory, and the presentation is top notch. Like, first person cutscenes, it's so cool, dude. One shitty thing that happened though was I beat a majority of the showcase in one sitting. But I can't show it to you because my game happened to crash. It still saved it saved my game. Didn't save my recording. So all those matches gone. So that was pretty shitty, but on the brights, apart from that, barring any recording issues, you're gonna have a good time playing Showcase. The My Rise this year is honestly damn good. The plot is really cool. It's basically an invasion of NXT superstars. Somehow, for the second time, the game developers have written a better invasion angle than the real WWE did. And there's a lot of returns in plot twist. During the story, CM Punk has been by our two characters' side the entire time, and later he turns heel and sides with the invaders. I won't lie, this heel turn caught me off guard. I turned it into 2000 Jim Ross for a second.
That son of a bitch!
They even bring back every single former My Career character from the past 2Ks. And I'm talking Buzz from 2K19, the characters from 24. They even bring back Red and Trey from 2K20. Yikes. But it's okay, because they actually go out of their way to bury 2K20, the game itself, which I think is hilarious. Without spoiling everything Myros related, just know it's really good and worth a playthrough. Multiple, actually, because there's branching paths you can take. I probably will replay it in the future because of the classic unlockable arenas that you can only unlock through My Rise, which I think is a strange choice, but I'll go with it. Overall, I think 2K25 is a damn good wrestling game, and I think it's worth your time. Now, of course, not everybody's going to be a fan of the simulation-based style. I know some people prefer the arcade things, older games, and that's fine. But 2K25 is a damn good wrestling game, and I'm happy that I enjoyed it. But this is just my opinion. All reviews are subjective. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. You can tell me what you didn't like about it in the comments. And thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, I review games as a whole. Right now, I'm currently reviewing a bunch of wrestling games. But if you're familiar, then SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 video coming up shortly. Anyway, peace. I'm out. In the early 2000s, there was a massive tidal wave of hip-hop focused video games hitting home consoles. Games like 187 Ride or Die, 25 to Life, and one game in particular, Def Jam Vendetta. Released in 2003, it was the cancelled WCW Mayhem 2 with a blinged out paint job. It's a straight up wrestling game too. It's a very pick up and play, which is always good for an arcade-centered wrestling game. This will be developed by the Aki team, the legendary team behind classics such as WCW vs. NWO War Tour, No Mercy, legendary wrestling games of the 90s. I don't think anybody thought a rapper-filled wrestling game would be very good, but EA Big delivered like they did most of the time. Def Jam Vendetta will go on to sell nearly 2 million copies, making a sequel a no-brainer. And fast forward 1 year to 2004, EA releases Def Jam Fight for New York. And how did it do? Yeah, I think it did pretty well. Def Jam Fight for New York released on September 1st, 2004, officially making this a 20-year-old game. And there's a very good reason for that. Well, let's remember Phil fondly. This game has gone down as one of the best fighting games in history. It would take the bold decision to turn it into a straight-up fighting game, with the wrestling theme still apparent in gameplay, but not the main focus of the game. And once again, it has the pick up and play feel. It's easy to learn, but very hard to master and get good at. It's faster paced than Vendetta, it has a way better combo system, and would make a lot of improvements gameplay wise. This game came out in my personal favorite decade of hip hop, so the 2000s. Rappers in this game were the biggest at the time, like Fat Joe, Sticky Fingers, Redman, Busta Rhymes, Freeway, both members of Mobb Deep, and many more. We did lose DMX, sadly, and this game is missing arguably the biggest rapper at the time, 50 Cent, but that maybe has a lot to do with him being on a separate label. This game actually did have a lot of cut fighters that I have talked about in a previous video. I made a video on the cut content of Def Jam Fight for New York, and it's actually one of my most popular videos on this channel. I'll put a card up. I recommend you guys go check that out. Fight for New York would also remove pinfalls, but would add many more ways to KO someone. A flurry of Muay Thai knees that can be comboed into a blazon, a strong haymaker punch, weapons from the crowd, or submissions, and you'll learn not to underestimate submission fighters when you fight Ice-T and Busta Rhymes. You can tell the rappers and celebrities actually put real effort into their voice acting. You can they really did care about being in the game. They didn't like, yo, I'll make this check and then bounce. I don't really care about my job. And they also picked out their own outfits and finishing moves. The improvements aren't just in the gameplay, the game's story mode is also fantastic. And Vendetta, you just use a pre-made character who didn't speak, who would occasionally upgrade his outfit. And Fight for New York, full customization. You can buy clothes from Snowman, get tattoos from Manny, get a haircut at Stingray's barbershop, and get jewelry from real-life jeweler Jacob the Jeweler. This is probably just a me thing, I don't know if anybody agrees with this, but there's a certain cross-chain in this game that looks exactly like one 50 Cent had during this game's release. I don't know, let me know if you guys agree or disagree. This game's story, narratively wise, is actually top-notch. The premise is this. After the ending of Vendetta, the game picks up with two cops arresting D-Mob, voiced by Christopher Judge, aka modern-day Kratos. Suddenly, a black SUV ramps a police car off the road, and we see D-Mob being escorted by a random suspect. One of the cops describes us and the police sketch artist, and that is how we get our player customization. That's gotta be awesome. Like I don't know if that's just me, but I think that's a genius way to have your player customization. We're brought back to the safe house and introduced to Sticky Fingers and Method Man, and after some light training, we are officially recruited into D-Mob's camp. We fight for D-Mob and take over territory. In our way is Crow, played by Snoop Dogg. He is the rival to D-Mob, and we take over his club by defeating his bosses. After clearing the foundation and the limit bar, we are challenged by Ice-T. This fight is actually pretty difficult if you don't know what you're doing, by the way. After defeating Ice-T, Crow shows up and disrespects our entire crew, and this does not sit well with Sticky Fingers.
Yo, look who's here.
Well, if it ain't America's Most Wanted, that police composite don't do justice to your ugly face. Shut your mouth. Thought your boy might want some real competition. Crack could use the exercise.
What are you doing here, Crow?
Oh, you know, just thought I'd come by and see how my new club is doing. Just a matter of time before we take this place over.
You better watch your step.
Uh-oh, I think I offended him. Hey, let's bounce, fellas. Oh, one more thing. Any fighters here that want to make some real money, you best join up with me before it's too late. Thanks for the hospitality. See you soon.
Later, we defeat Dub C in our challenge to a winner-takes-all fight. If we win, Crow backs off. D-Mob selects us as our best man. This is when Sticky Fingers officially leaves the crew.
Great match, baby.
You came through for us again.
Looks like my man just took another one of your clubs, Crow.
That's what I want to talk to you about. Man, this war is costing us both too much money. You know it, and I know it.
What are you suggesting? A truce?
Something much more interesting. A fight. Winner takes all.
And the loser?
The loser? Hell, I don't know. Loser goes to Jersey.
Who are the principals?
My boy Crack versus your best man.
Yeah, and I'll make him bleed. Just ask Blaze. He remembers me.
Alright, you're on.
So who's it gonna be?
My partner right here.
What? Man, this is bullshit!
You better watch yourself.
Nah, man, you better watch yourself! I'm out of here!
Looks like you got yourself a little morale issue there, brother. See you Friday.
Don't worry about Sticky. You just be ready.
Our opponent, Crack, aka Fat Joe. And this fight, look, I love Fat Joe's music, I really do, but this boss fight really makes me hate the guy. Thankfully, I've beaten this game enough times to win this fight on the first try, but as a new player on the hard difficulty, this boss fight sucks. See, CPU Joe just loves to spam the pedigree and haymakers, and it makes me think that he was watching a lot of Triple H at this time. If you've played this game, you know how much of a nuisance CPU Fat Joe is. This boss fight can eat a fat one. After celebrating our victory, the limo is hit by a drive-by shooting. Trejo, Busta Rhymes, and the now heel Sticky Fingers flee into the subway. Trejo stays behind to finish us off once and for all, but it is him who is finished. See, we don't just knock him out, although that is an option, you can do that, but the canning way is throwing him in front of a moving subway. Cold, son. That's cold. Our player wants to retaliate against Crow that same night, but Blaze reminds us that's not the way of the streets. That's not the D-Mob way.
Just get out of here.
No way! You coming with us!
Leave me.
Forget it! Crow's gonna die for this!
No, remember what I said. That ain't the way. Now get the hell out of here.
Come on, let's go!
We got work to do.
Yeah, we gotta hit Crow back tonight!
No way. That's exactly what he expects us to do. He'll be waiting.
What? So we just run away scared?
Do I look scared? No. But I ain't stupid either. We gotta do things the right way. D-Mob's way. We take Crow's turf by beating his fighters.
Yeah, you're crippled and half the crew's jumped town. Man, we gonna need some help.
Hey! What's going on?
After clearing some more clubs, we take some sort of revenge at the Source Tag Team Tournament when we challenge Busta Rhymes after defeating waves of duos including Mobb Deep, you, and depending on who you chose between Omar Epps and Ice-T. Defeat Busta Rhymes and win a Fat Farm SUV, which is clearly supposed to be a 2003 Escalade, but they couldn't get the license, which is hilarious to me. Not even a while later, after defeating Lil Flip. Man, who remembers Lil Flip? He had some bangers, I ain't even gonna lie. But anyway, after defeating Lil Flip, Busta Rhymes, Dub C, and Fat Joe confront us in the parking garage, leading to a fight.
That's what I'm talking about. Whooped that ass. Yo, what's up? Man, lighten up, man. The plan's working.
Is it? I mean, sure, we winning some fights, but how do we know we getting to Crow? So that's your ride, huh? No wonder you wanted this one so bad.
Hey, yo, shut up and listen, man. All right? Crow wants you to stay up out his clubs, B. That's it.
Or what?
Or we gonna give you a dirt nap.
You tell Crow, if he's tired of losing, maybe he should find himself a real fighter.
Oh, so you's a real fighter, huh? Let's see how well you do fighting on your own.
And there's two ways you can actually beat him here. You can either A, knock him out, or B, if you destroy his car, it'll also count as a win. But Bust does not take this kindly at all.
You're gonna pay for wrecking my ride, bitch.
Crow, in his desperate attempt to get back on the winning side before a major fight with Exhibit, Crow gives us one final offer to join, and we disrespectfully decline.
Man, I said in a minute! What do you want, Crow?
We need to have a discussion. Alone.
Anything you gotta say to me, you can say in front of her.
I got a business proposition for you. I'll double whatever you getting if you come and fight for me.
But then I don't get to see the look on your face every time I take another one of your clubs.
I understand. You down with D-Mob. That's cool. But you're a winning fighter on a losing team, and we both know it's just a matter of time. So I suggest you give it some serious thought.
Okay. No. Now if you excuse me, I've got another club to win tonight.
And Crow will not take this fight lightly, as after a big gauntlet tournament where we fight heavy hitters like Fat Joe and Henry Rollins, he reveals he has our girl hostage and we need to switch sides if we want to see her live again. And we can't say nothing about it. If anybody finds out, she's gone. Although I'm sure the player could have told someone and found some way to help. Does anybody else think that it would have been awesome to join Crow by choice? I mean, obviously it wasn't going to happen, but I think if the game gave you the option to turn heel, it would have been sick. This isn't me saying, oh, I wish we could have had this. I'm not saying that at all. It's just, think about it. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could do a bad guy run, like you know, after you beat the story the first time, you have the option to just join Crow outright? Wouldn't that be awesome? With our hand forced, we take back club after club, beating our friends unwillingly. Also, it's here where Ludacris gives us the funniest voicemail of the entire game.
I knew we should have never trusted your ass.
With our hands forced, we put Crow back in power until he finally gets to the last club, 357. After defeating Redman, Crow is officially put back in power of New York. We ask him for our girl and he tells us that there's just one more job we gotta complete.
Where is she?
Easy. You'll get your girl. First, I've got one last job for you.
Forget it, Crow. A deal's a deal now. Give me my girl.
Whoa. You better check yourself right there, bitch. You in no position to be making demands. You wanna walk? That's fine. But you ever wanna see your girl again? You gonna do what I say. You got it?
Just one more thing you gotta do. So this is it, huh? Hold on to this. Finish him. Perfect.
After waking up and coming back to the good side, we defeat Crack and Busta Rhymes once again, and Bust reveals us the location of our girl.
Where's my girl at? Where is she?
It won't do you any good anyway, man.
Where is she? Come on!
We ain't never gonna let her live anyway, man.
Where is she, man? Tell me!
being held in the old tire factory in Brooklyn.
Wait here. Anyone shows up, you hit that horn. I'll be back.
Well, if it ain't the great fugitive fighter. Sup, champ? See you lost your escorts.
I'm just here for the girl, Sticky.
And I'm here for you. See, Crow figured this place gonna accidentally burn down tonight. And you two won't make it out of here. So I'm making sure that I get the chance to finally beat your ass once and for all. In the ring.
We confront Sticky Fingers in a burning building. After a back and forth fight, he is crushed and burnt alive. And our girlfriend is dead? It's never confirmed nor denied, but it's heavily implied, and it's here where this has gone from crew rivalry to deadly beef. We confront Crow, and Fat Joe and Dubsy turn face. We head up to Crow's office to confront him once and for all.
We end this now, Crow.
Hey, man, what you waiting on? Shoot this fool! Now!
Hey, yo, you know what? Fuck this shit. It's all yours.
Looks like you got a morale issue there, brother.
Come on, man. Ain't no need for this. Just join with me. I earned the city fair and square.
You broke the code.
Fuck the code. D-Mob was always talking that old school loyalty bullshit. You from the streets, you know there's only one code out here that matters. Ride or get rolled on. Hey, hold on.
You ain't even worth it.
After a back and forth battle, the canon way that this ends is that you throw him out of his penthouse window, but I just knocked him out because Snoop Dogg is incredibly difficult, and I wasn't playing no games. I wasn't trying to do all that, you know. And that's the end of the story. You kill Crow. This game has some after stuff you can do, like some optional fights and stuff like that, like tournaments, but they're not necessary. Once you kill Crow, it's 100% completion. Overall, this game is just really, really good. I kind of wish the Def Jam series would come back. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's because of Icon that killed the series. And while that is very well true, you guys know how I feel about Icon. There's no need to go into it. If you've watched the channel long enough, you know that I actually like that game. I recognize it's bad and has its flaws, but I'm actually a fan of that game. But if you guys enjoy this video, consider leaving a like, subscribe. And if you're watching this the day that comes out, I may have something coming very, very soon. That's all I can say. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified, because there's a little something coming. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace. I'm out.